Good evening, y'all. I'm checking out some Democrats getting ratioed tonight. I got this one from Chuck Schumer. Breaking, Rep. Jeffries and I are demanding a meeting with real Donald Trump on his decision to shut down the federal government because of the Republican desire to continue to cut the health care of the American people. Even though it's Chuck Schumer who's unilaterally insisting that the government gets shut down because they want Republicans to pass $1.5 trillion for God knows what. Plus, illegal immigrants are not getting health care, and Democrats insist that they do. So, anyway, so I actually do have something on this. I decided to look up the whole healthcare gutting of the American people. So I just asked Grok right before I hit record, what's up with Democrats claiming Republicans are gutting healthcare? And according to Grok, Democrats are accusing Republicans of gutting health care amid a looming government shutdown over a stopgap funding bill due by September 30th. The GOP's proposal includes cuts to Medicaid, Obamacare subsidies, and other programs, which Dems say would strip coverage from millions of people and exacerbate a health care crisis. Republicans counter that Democrats are blocking bipartisan funding by demanding protections for these subsidies. The standoff has led to demands for talks with Trump to avert the shutdown. I don't know. Not sure where that's going. So I further elaborated with another question. Why does the GOP want to cut Medicaid and Obamacare subsidies? So, according to Grok, Republicans seek to gut Medicaid funding and let Obamacare subsidies expire, primarily to reduce federal spending by hundreds of billions, estimated at almost $800 billion for Medicaid alone. $800 billion. That's how much the federal government is spending on just Medicaid alone. So if you divide, I already did this. If you divide this up, 330 million Americans, it's probably a little bit higher than that, but whatever. So 330 million Americans, $793 billion in total. That breaks down to almost $2,500 for each and every American man, woman, and child that's being spent on just Medicaid alone. And just because you're on Medicaid doesn't necessarily mean that you're getting ongoing health care. There's probably a lot of people who have it as just a just-in-case situation. If, God forbid, you get injured or you get sick or whatever, you know, you've got something to help carry you through that illness or that injury that you sustain. So I'm sure not everybody who's on Medicaid are constantly going to the doctor, but what do I know? I've never been on Medicaid. Anyway, through measures like work requirements and targeting ACA expansions, as well as offsetting tax cuts and promoting fiscal conservatism amid the 2025 reconciliation bill. ACA expansions, the Affordable Care Act, not so sure what they're talking about with that. I assume that they just simply want to dump more money into it because the healthcare industry is just hyperinflated and it just keeps getting worse and worse and everything gets more and more expensive. Just basic surgeries now, I'm sure they're probably up in the hundreds of thousands of dollars at this point, which is the root of the problem. That's really the root of the problem. It's hyperinflated healthcare costs when it comes to goods and services provided by the healthcare industry. Getting a simple x-ray, how much does that cost now? Like $1,000, even though it's only going to cost the healthcare facility like what, $50, something like that. It's ridiculous. I mean, pretty much anything that you look at, with one exception, probably just your basic drugs like painkillers and stuff like that. Those only cost a few dollars to administer, but everything else is just extremely expensive. Anyway, so I got one more. Is the GOP going after Medicaid and the Affordable Care Act due to fraud, waste, and abuse? Because that's what I hear a lot from the Republican side. Republicans claim their proposed cuts to Medicaid and ACA subsidies target fraud, waste, and abuse to curb improper payments, estimated at $100 billion annually. I'm assuming for both Medicaid and Affordable Care Act. That's what I'm assuming. But even still, man, $100 billion is that's just improper payments alone. So what, about an eighth of that? What is that, like 10, 15%? Or yeah, probably about 15% of all money that we spend toward Medicaid is just improper payments. I don't know why they don't get down to the root of that. I'm sure there's probably thousands of federal employees that are most likely tasked with just looking into improper payments. Anyway, without reducing access for eligible beneficiaries, Critics, including Democrats, call this a pretext for broader fiscal offsets like tax cuts, as actual fraud is a small fraction of waste. I don't know. Whatever. $100 billion is an insanely, ridiculously stupid amount of money that they're just writing it off. Well, it's improper payments. Are you clawing that money back? Is anybody going to jail? I mean, what are we doing here? Anyway, go ahead and shut it down. All vital departments or personnel will still report for duty. All who are not vital personnel are basically getting free time off and will receive back pay. Yeah, they're absolutely right. Even if the government shut down for like a freaking year, I'm sure they'll still get their back pay no matter what. Maybe unless they start purging different departments in the federal government, which I highly doubt that's going to happen. I mean, we could only wish and hope. Let's see. Sky's the limit. Shut the fuck up, Chucky. No one is listening to you anymore. Unfavorable, 44%. 25% favorable. Or unfavorable, 19%. All right. Yeah. Okay. Whatever. Democrats voted no on the CR. It is Dems who are shutting the government down. Yeah, it is. Let's see. What is it you do not understand? No to us paying for free healthcare for your illegals. No to funding your propaganda network NPR. No to $1.5 trillion in spending. Democrats are insane. And that's another question I have. This whole $1.5 trillion, Republicans are not telling us exactly what they want it for. Obviously, Democrats aren't telling us what they want it for. Let me just see. Maybe somebody somewhere may have actually elaborated on it. And it takes Grok a minute, so I'll get back to that. Which is kind of funny because this is Grok 4 fast version, and they're still beta testing it. But for some reason, yeah, it's not all that fast. It's in my experience, Grok 3 was faster. Anyway, Amy Shannon, no, we do not want to give illegals health care. Period. No means no. Get over yourself. Pass the clean CR bill. Oh no, you don't. Nobody works 40 plus hours a week to have a third of our pay deducted to pay for healthcare for people who snuck into our country illegally. Your voters are smart, yet you underestimate them. You think your lies and deceit will go undetected. Sorry to inform you that people have this thing called the internet, where they can fact check you. Your lies are sending them to the right in droves. Keep it up, moron. You are losing your voter base, and it's glorious. Yeah, I don't know if he's going to lose enough. But yeah, they're definitely seeing droves of people who have been voting Democrats their whole lives. And yeah, they are jumping ship, or they're just leaving the Democratic Party in general. Not necessarily jumping over to full-blown Republican, but, you know, yeah, there's definitely seeing a lot of that happening. So let's see if this is back yet. Or let's see. Democrats are proposing a $1.5 trillion continuing resolution to fund the federal government through October 31st, while adding priorities like restoring nearly $930 billion in Medicaid cuts to avert rural hospital closures, permanently extending Affordable Care Act premium subsidies costing $350 billion over 10 years to lower family costs. That is absolutely ridiculous. $350 billion of our tax money is just going to people who, they just don't earn enough, or they've had a whole bunch of kids that they can't afford, but they had them anyway. I don't know. I don't like the idea. I've never gotten free healthcare before. I mean, this isn't free anyway, man. Somebody's paying for it. Actually, it's our grandchildren who's actually paying for it. Let's see. Unfreezing $5 billion in foreign aid. For what? Boosting security funding for Congress and courts, $500 million total, and locking in bipartisan fiscal year 2026 deals. Yeah, definitely don't want that to happen. $350 billion? No, dude. See, this just goes to show that Democrats, they want to infinitely spend more and more. They want inflation to run up to infinity. They want us to become, I don't even know what, Venezuela. I guess that's a good example, where they're so hyperinflated. You want to buy a street vendor hot dog in Venezuela, you're going to spend $26,000 on it, and that's not an exaggeration. Or Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe's another example. Everybody knows the country of Zimbabwe. They printed a $100 trillion bill, 15 years ago or so. But yeah, that's what they want. More spending, more spending, more spending, more spending, more spending. But they have no answers as far as where they're going to get all this money from. Where's it coming from? It's coming from the taxpayers. Democrats want to raise taxes. Republicans want to lower taxes. That's the simple gist of it. Arrest this. It's not healthcare for the American people you're fighting for. Tell them the truth. You're fighting for healthcare for illegal immigrants. Yep, that is definitely a part of it. The whole Affordable Care Act, that $350 billion, how much of that is going to go to illegal immigrants if they're allowed to have that? Oh, it's going to be a lot more than zero. That's for damn sure. Yeah, I mean, as far as people moving over from the Democratic Party, she is right. There are people who they are looking this shit up. Let's see. Yeah, the fact checking part. I lost my train of thought there for a second, but yeah, some people use this thing called the internet. Yeah, but unfortunately, a lot of Democrats forgot how to use the internet. A lot of them, of course, they know how to get on social media. They know how to complain. They know how to watch videos here and there. They know how to create a TikTok video, but they don't really know how to Google anymore. If they do know, they certainly completely don't use it anymore. Not to say that Google is the best search engine to get the most accurate information. That's why I tend to lean toward Grok a little more than Google. Even though Google's AI search results, it will show its sources. I don't know. Google's been rubbing me the wrong way for a long time. I think I'm not the only one out there who sees it that way. They've been left-leaning for pretty much their whole existence. So, not to say Grok isn't. Grok might be somewhat biased on one side or the other, but I mean, whenever I search for something with Grok, it shows the sources like Google does. It also, hold on a second. Oh, no, don't bookmark that. Yeah, not only do they show the sources, but it actually tags like a few lines of what it is that it was looking at. Guardian, The Hill, Al Jazeera, AP News, democraticleader.house.gov. I mean, it's all left-leaning. LA Times, very left-leaning. Instagram. Okay, Instagram, Grok. All right, so whatever. I'm going to move on to the next one here from Rosa DeLorio. Oh, yeah, by the way, this one, you got 2.3 thousand likes and 2.6 thousand dislikes. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a ratio. They get more comments than they get likes. That typically means that they're saying something that the majority strongly disagrees with, because most people, they don't leave a comment for like 99% of all posts that are not just on X, but are on all social media. Usually it gets overwhelmingly more likes than it gets comments. You know, you really have to say something pretty harsh to get more people to comment than people to like. So at least that's my understanding of ratioing. Rosa DeLoro, Republicans' partisan funding bill will raise healthcare costs. They should be ready to explain that to their constituents. And this got 229 likes, but 235 comments. That is still a ratio. It's still higher, but let's listen to this.
I urge my colleagues to support the continuing resolution.
In his district, the premiums will go up $760 for folks.
I urge my colleagues to reject their demands.
Remind the gentleman from Texas.
You notice how they're having him like scream extremely fast, going so fast you can't even understand what he's saying. Most Democrats certainly won't understand a single word he's saying because it's sped up way too fast for their brains to process it.
That in his district, premiums will go up $430.
How come they're not speeding her up though? Oh, because it's her account. Oh yeah, yeah. This is her. This is that Rosa DeLoro lady, crazy ass purple haired old ass
so he'll
lady.
have to explain that to his constituents.
And support this measure.
In her district, premiums will go up $3,300.
We owe it to the people of my district, of my state, and frankly to everyone in this nation.
Remind the gentleman from North Carolina that I think his constituents are just going to be very unhappy about an additional almost $600 in increased costs for their health care premiums.
I urge my colleagues.
Yeah, it starts all over. Anyway, I figure when I go through these, I'll just read some comments. It's the weekend. This is not the swamp. This is just something just hanging out for the weekend. The swamp I do Monday through Friday. Anyway, oh yeah, so yours truly commented, notice how none of the Democrats explain exactly how Republicans are jacking up healthcare. Anyone can mouth conclusive rhetoric with enough substance to fill a bag made from air. And let's see. Florida MAGA Godzilla 2.0, purple-haired witch. States have insurance commissions. If it goes up, it's because the governor allowed it. Quit lying. I was actually not aware of that. Every state has an insurance commission. That purple blue hair dye has fried your brain. You're not a teeny bopper. Try dressing appropriately for your age. Yeah, that ain't gonna happen. More lies. It's not a funding bill. It's a continuing resolution of what was in place before. Oh, you know what? Actually, a comment on this. I watched. Let me see if I can find this place. Hang on just a sec here. Oh, no. Hold on. Just gonna... So I watched this, I guess you call it a documentary. It's sort of a documentary. It is over in Russia, and it is like right over here. Where is that? Is that it? Oh, no, that's it. Vladivostok. I guess that they have like the largest naval base in the Far East, obviously in Russia. Well, anyway, I was just watching just a general video on, you know, what goes on there. I was bored last night, and then or YouTube recommended it, so I watched it. Well, the two richest guys that live in this place, they run a whole bunch of dental and medical clinics, and one of the guys was saying that 15 years ago, in order to get ahead in business in this city, you had to wear really nice shoes. You have to wear a flashy suit. You got to dress up. You got to really dress up. And he said that is not the case anymore. Everybody just dresses really comfortably. Like they'll wear like hoodies or tracksuits or whatever, just like a casual business jacket. And I thought that was interesting because that's definitely happening here and across the West. And yeah, I just thought that was interesting in relation to her comment that, yeah, it looks like basically the whole world, we're starting to slowly move away from wearing uncomfortable fancy suits and really nice shiny shoes. We're moving on to more casual wear, which I'm not really going to push back on. I definitely remember back when I was a kid, a lot more people wore suits out in public than today. It's pretty rare to see somebody just out and about wearing a suit unless they were working. But of course, I'm talking like the 90s. So probably the vast majority of elderly men back then, that's what they wore their whole lives. They wore a suit every day, no matter where they were going. I mean, just look at the airports today, man. People don't dress up at all anymore. Even church. Like the last time I went to church, admittedly, it was a while ago, but the church I was going to, they wore cargo shorts, tennis shoes, flip-flops, just like regular t-shirts. It was a little bit too new age for my liking. I was dressed up, but I was one of the few. It was kind of weird because there were a lot of older people that were there too, and they kind of dressed the same way. And yeah, I live in St. Pete, Clearwater, Florida area, which you might just be able to chalk up to tourism or something. But no, like, even though I lived in this area, I lived in a city. Well, it's more of a town than a city, but it's in the area. But it's not a place where people go and stay in hotels and stuff like that. It's not that kind of area. So basically, everybody going to that church are year-round residents here. But maybe that's happening everywhere. I don't know. So how does anyone vote for you? Reinstatement of free health insurance for illegal aliens. It's not free. $500 million for liberal news outlets and other partisan priorities, totaling a massive of $1.5 trillion spending hike tacked onto a simple CR. And the American people see through this obvious stunt. Yeah. Are you stupid or something? No, it will stop your 15 million illegal voters from getting health care, thus lowering the cost to taxpayers and private policyholders. There's no such thing as bipartisan with your party, Rosa. So take whatever is on the table as a CR bill to keep the government open for the next 7 weeks and shut up. Biden-era CR and policy spending is what's costing Americans, and those days are over. This is what the Democrats' idea is of a CR to hold the government open for just 7 weeks. Are you high? 1.5 trillion dollars. It's absolute lunacy. Wait until healthcare is free, then it will be really expensive. Yeah, well, because they'll just write a blank check no matter what. The healthcare industry can charge really whatever the hell they want, and the government's so overbloated and so slow and so reckless. It's not the individual government employees' money, so they'll just sign off on literally whatever the hell the healthcare facility or entity wants to charge for their services. And I mean, They don't seem to be relegating or any regulation with regard to healthcare costs in their goods and services. It doesn't seem like it. Maybe they are. I don't think they are, though. Which means, yeah, if they offer free healthcare, it's probably blank check time. And yeah, you think healthcare went up. You think it's gone up a lot since Obamacare, which it has. It's gone way up since Obamacare. Healthcare used to be, actually, compared to where it is now, healthcare or health insurance back in the 2000s was outstanding. It was unbelievably good compared to where it is right now. We didn't have deductibles back then. You didn't have to pay up to like $8,000 out of pocket before they consider you at your maximum for how much you have to pay for whatever it is you got to pay for. None of that existed back then. If you had to get laid up in the hospital as an inpatient, you paid $250. That's it, regardless of what you were there for. Now, not all insurance was like that in the 2000s, but that's the insurance I remember, at least. And I was not working, like a stellar job. It was just an average, everyday, just regular, like office cubicle setting kind of job. And that was the healthcare I got. Anyway, you know what raised the cost of everything? Democrats did. Yeah, they always do. They always do. Republicans try to slow down spending, and Democrats, they just try to skyrocket spending. Because that's really the only thing they have to stand on with regard to getting reelected. We'll offer you a bunch of free shit, even though there is no such thing as a free lunch. We even learned that in school. But Democrats, conveniently, they just forget about that, I guess. Do you dipshits realize what you just posted here? Oh, yeah, it's old. It's shown many times, but it's still hilarious because, yeah, the Democrats actually did post that saying Trump's America. And of course, they didn't put the part where it says Trump and then Biden is like the vast majority of this. And then the very edge is like, actually, no, that's October 2024. Yeah. So like Trump his second term's not even on this graph. But yeah, Democrats posted that. It was fucking hilarious. I also believe that they ended up deleting it as soon as they were called out for it. Democrats passed the ACA with unsetting tax credits. You can't blame that on Republicans. You are a purple hair mental patient who constantly wonders why you are ignored. All right. So I guess that's that. Did not get much attention. 228 likes. It's not really a whole lot. I mean, 22,000 people saw it, but even still, even with that little amount of likes, it still got ratioed. This is from Elizabeth Warren. She's been getting ratioed a lot lately. With 968 likes and 1,100 comments, ICE is targeting community members with no criminal record. Agents are sitting outside of churches and schools, driving unmarked vans and breaking car windows. These violent ICE arrests don't make us safer. They intentionally stoke fear and tear communities apart. They broke the record, or they broke the law by getting into the country illegally. What do you mean no criminal record? She's just an idiot. ICE in Malden. Federal agents were seen surrounding a pickup truck in Malden early this morning. Here's what we know. Yeah, we know that he's an illegal immigrant, which by definition is here illegally. So yeah, of course he's getting deported. I don't know. Any comments? Okay, never mind. So I thought I responded or commented to most of these, but no, I didn't comment to this one at least. If they came here illegally, they are criminals. Absolutely. Who is this? Elizabeth Warren, Charlie Kirk. I'm not familiar. If I'm being honest, I'm not familiar who that is. Probable spam. It's probably spam. Are you interested in helping solve your bills? If you're interested, DM me right now. Ooh. Deport all illegal aliens. I stand with ICE. I love ICE raids. By the way, if you're just listening, I'm not literally saying that I love ICE raids. I'm just reading what I see on the screen. All right? Ain't my words. Ain't my words. Don't freak out. If you're an illegal, you've committed a crime just by being here. What don't you understand about this? ICE has the legal authority to detain anyone not legally in this country. As a lawmaker, you know this. It's your party's policies that have put this country in dire straits we find ourselves in. Remember this? No one is above the law. And I'm not familiar with how long Elizabeth Warren's been in politics. Probably long enough for this stuff to get passed, like 20 years ago, 25 years ago. I mean, I don't exactly know when they passed the most recent string of illegal immigration federal laws. It's probably been a lot longer than that. So, yeah. I guess if you looked far enough back into her history, if she has been in politics for long enough, she might have actually voted for quite a bit of stuff that keeps illegal immigrants out of the country. Let's see. How are you still in public office? You said these people that have been deported have no criminal records, correct? Being in this country illegally is the very definition of being a criminal. And to all of you who followed that garbage and believed the lies, shame on you. Hey, Pocahontas, keep saying stupid shit like this and underestimate the intelligence of your voters. People have access to the internet, you know. All your lies are being debunked and you're losing voters in droves. Yep, they all are. And I firmly believe the Charlie Kirk assassination really woke up a lot of people. Everyday people. And also what I think everybody's kind of missing the mark on is the number of children that saw it in schools. Because I know there was a state recently. What state was that? Was that Montana maybe? Or it might have been like Wyoming. I think it was somewhere up in the Northwest, like Rocky Mountain area. And the governor signed a law banning cell phone use or a smartphone use in K through 12 schools. Like some policy like they can have their phone with them, but it has to be off at all times, or I don't know. But anyway, for everybody else, like virtually everybody's kids saw Charlie Kirk's shooting, like the close up and everything, because kids show shock content to other kids, especially when it's in the mainstream media, when everybody else is talking about it. Of course, elementary school kids, I doubt it. I'm just talking like middle school and up. And the kids coming home, some probably traumatized, telling their parents that I just saw the scariest thing ever. And parents they're probably freaking out about that, because even the kids who don't have phones of their own, absolutely, there's other kids, maybe they're sitting in the cafeteria together and one kid said, "Oh, dude, did you see this?" And then they just, bam, there's the video right there, just shoved right in front of your kid's face, just like that. So that probably also woke up a lot of normies and non-political types and got them really enraged against the Democrats, because if they're watching TV, it's just blatant lies saying that he was the shooter was a Trump supporter, which makes absolutely no sense. And they say it all within like 20 seconds of each other, saying that Charlie Kirk's an extreme right winger and he was killed by what seems to be a Trump supporter. So and somebody who's just a normie that's not involved in politics, like, the fuck are they talking about? Just everyday people know that nobody's going to take a shot at a conservative when they are a conservative. It simply doesn't happen. Let's see. Should have never opened the border and should have let them pick up detainees in jail. That is what drove the fear and is tearing our communities apart. Yep, absolutely right. ICE wouldn't even have to be on the streets at all. And the reason why they have to be on the streets and rounding up all these illegal immigrants is because those sanctuary cities refuse to hold them in jail. As far as I know, everyone that ICE is still going after to this day, these are illegal immigrant criminals who have broken laws in the U.S. and they have violations on the books right now. So they were arrested for whatever they were arrested for, and then they were let out by the sanctuary city judges, and ICE has their information, and they have to go pick them up on the street because these sanctuary cities refuse to hold them in jail just long enough for ICE to pick them up. And ICE, they're telling them, like, look, hold them for 2 hours. We'll be there in like a couple hours. It's not like, well, we'll get to them whenever we get around to them. It's like ICE puts an urgency on picking these people up as soon as possible. But sanctuary cities, they don't even pick up the phone. They won't even talk to ICE. They just let them out. And you know, if it's an illegal immigrant who's been arrested and they're sitting in jail, I'm not saying I have proof of this, but I'm sure that whatever judge that's handling the docket for the day will probably fast track every single illegal immigrant up to the very front of the line so they can get them cut loose as soon as humanly possible. That way the feds don't show up and just wait outside, wait for him to walk out of the jail so they can arrest him. That would not surprise me at all. They intentionally deport illegal aliens. If you aren't here illegally, then there should be no fear. Absolutely. Yeah, if you're a illegal immigrant, they're not going after you, but we already all know that. Democrats are just trying to gaslight their low IQ voters. And I don't know if they really have enough of them to really make it worth their while. After all, in 2024, Trump won all 7 swing states. And things are getting way redder. These are getting way redder. Even here in Florida, man. They just overturned the open carry ban that they enacted back in like 1987. They just overturned it like 5-6 days ago. So starting on September the 25th, you can open carry any firearm you want. That includes rifles, shotguns, handguns, any kind of weapon you want. You can carry it out in public, loud and proud. And the sheriff's departments in every single county are not going to enforce that law because it's been overturned by the Florida Supreme Court. And even the state attorney or the attorney general for the state of Florida, I'm not 100% sure what his exact title is. I think that's, attorney general for the state of Florida has already come out and said that as of right now, if anybody has been charged with possession, just simple like possession of a firearm, and they're being charged under that law, they're throwing them all out. So that's really nice. So Florida just got a lot redder, a lot safer. You know, criminals, they might think twice about committing a certain crime if they really have no idea if the person that they're going to commit a crime against is armed. Not to say there won't be any crimes committed. Obviously, there's going to be crimes committed. I mean, this is Florida after all. This state's fucking crazy, man. A lot of what is it, like the term Florida man? Anytime you see Florida man in the news, it's usually some like absolute psycho that just went completely apeshit and did some fuckery. Anyway, ICE arrests criminals. Every illegal removed makes the country safer. Remember when Democrats opened the border and let the country be invaded by millions? Yeah, tens of millions. They knew nothing about these people, so all could have had criminal records and no one would know. Many of them did have criminal records. And that's why there has been reports of prison systems all across Latin America that are empty right now because they let them all out and sent them up to the U.S. And that is why ICE is dealing with a bunch of mayhem right now. Not just because of the Democrat protesters, it's also because violent criminals, even by Latin American standards, are running around up here, and ICE is trying to round them up, and that's why assaults against ICE and violence against ICE has gone up over 1,000%, because these are some of the worst human beings on the planet that they're chasing after. And they're running around in your community, in my community, all over America, thanks to the Biden administration, thanks to the Democrats, and they want it to stay that way. It's absolutely wild, just the lunacy. They've gone from supporting their own constituents to supporting illegal immigrants, and now they're supporting criminal illegal immigrants. And I know it's the same thing, criminal illegal immigrant and illegal immigrant. I get it. But what I'm referring to are illegal immigrants that have committed crimes after they came into the U.S. They've been arrested by U.S. authorities, U.S. police. They went to jail. They were let out of jail because they're in a sanctuary city. And many of them, they just commit crime after crime. They get thrown in jail. They get released the next day. That whole no cash bail or no bail or whatever the fuck they're doing. And I think Trump, I don't know if it only pertained to D.C., but I believe he signed an executive order to that effect. I think he's putting a stop to the whole no cash bail, or I think that's what it is, no cash bail. Essentially, if you don't have enough money to pay your bill, the judge is like, oh, that's okay. We'll just let you out anyway. No, you don't have to pay for anything. All right, let's move on to the next one. Let's see what else we got here. So that one I did. This one I just did. Congressman Yasaman Ansari. I just voted no on the Republican CR because it does nothing to restore health care for millions of Americans. And ratio, wow, man, look at this ratio, like 3 times over, 342 likes, 900 comments. Ooh, that is ruthless. So let's hear what she has to say.
Hey guys, I just got off the House floor and I voted no on the continuing resolution, which is called a CR. It is a short-term fix to keep the government open. First of all, I want to explain all of this to you. This isn't how we should be negotiating a long-term budget, but this is what
Oh, well, wait a minute. So she said she voted no on it. Well, that means that you did vote to close down the government. So she quite literally, as literally can get, it was her, a Democrat, who shut down the government, or who voted to shut down the government. because the CR is going to keep the government open for 7 weeks. So if you vote no, you are literally voting to shut the government down.
Life is like with Republicans in control of the White House, the Senate, and the House. I voted no because Republicans have completely refused to come to the negotiating table with Democrats. And as you all recall from the reconciliation bill,
because you're asking for psychotic bullshit. They're trying to make cuts to the federal government, and they just want to keep expanding it because they're a bunch of communists. They want the government to run literally every single aspect of our lives. And they want to get things to the point where 95% of Americans are going to have to wait in bread lines for like 8 hours a day. And in the offhand rare chance that we're lucky enough to have cash, we have to wait in an ATM line for like another 8 hours. That's basically what's happening, or what happens often in communist countries.
Americans across the country. What we have been demanding is to restore the Medicaid cuts from the big ugly bill that was passed a couple of months ago. We've asked to restore
fraud, waste,
SNAP
abuse,
food
and
assistance
illegals
that was cut, and also to make sure that healthcare costs don't go up.
But wait a minute, didn't you all vote for the? Well, maybe they didn't. No, they probably didn't vote for the big ugly bill. I don't think a single Democrat voted for it, though. Yeah, the whole food cut to SNAP benefits, that's a good thing. Because not only are they doing that, but on the state level, like state after state, I actually should look that up to see how many states have passed whatever the legislation was with regard to junk food being purchased by SNAP benefits or beneficiaries buying a bunch of garbage. There's been quite a few states who have passed that recently, where you can't buy junk food with your SNAP benefits, but they're getting rid of SNAP benefits for many people because they're able-bodied and they're not working. They're just sitting on welfare for years and years and years, perfectly able-bodied. A lot of them have children over 14 years old, and if you have a child over 14 years old and you are able-bodied, you have to go to work. And you're getting your SNAP benefits cut. And I think they actually even clarified that you can only be on SNAP benefits for up to 2 years, something like that. But that might only pertain to people who have kids over 14. If your kids are under 14, you might still be getting whatever it is that you're getting now. Not sure if they're making any cuts to those individuals or not. But that's the gist of what they're doing with cutting the food stamps.
Premiums don't go up.
Gotta get back to work.
It's so disgraceful that Republicans refuse to make sure that every American has access to health care. So that's why Democrats voted no. There's also a vote happening in the Senate on this, but it's possible that we may have a government shutdown if Republicans refuse to negotiate. So hopefully they grow a spine and stand up to Donald Trump.
Nope. I wouldn't exactly count on it, but she already knows that. So, yeah, so she got ruthlessly ratioed for this. Illegals aren't Americans, and fraudsters don't deserve my tax money for health insurance. You mean to tell me that Obamacare was passed because people couldn't afford health insurance? And now, because of Obamacare, people are being heavily fined because they can't afford health insurance? Yeah, no shit. The hypocrisy. What the hell is going on? Proud to be an American. I didn't work all of my life to support your family. Take care of your own, get a job, and stop freeloading. Absolutely. Plus, there's a lot of people who are on government insurance and they go to the emergency room for the dumbest ass shit. Like people go in for a cat scratch, or they go in because, oh, I got a headache, or they're going in because, I don't know, I woke up this morning, my leg hurts, or some bullshit like that. You know, a lot of people are just going there for the dumbest ass reasons, and it's costing us like thousands of dollars for every time they go. Let's see, things Democrats have in 2025. No solutions, no policies, no integrity, no leadership, no talent, no money, no hope, no joy, no love for America, and 5 million fewer voters. Ain't that the truth? Oh, no, you didn't. You voted no because you are a mindless drone who will vote for the Dems no matter what, because that is what you are told to do. Absolutely. Which, as I've already said, she literally voted to shut down the government, but she's accusing Republicans of shutting down the government. I mean, what? We're not paying for illegal alien shit anymore, bro. Y'all can do it with your own money if you actually care so much. Yeah, no shit. I mean, they don't have any right to American money. They don't, because they're not Americans. So you voted not to vote on short-term measures to keep the government open because you want benefits to continue for imported migrants and people like this? Let's see. This might piss you off. Uh-oh. Should we go for it? Should we watch it?
What do I do for work? I don't.
There you have it. And it's people like her, I think her, she, or whatever. I think it's her or whatever. Yeah, it's people like that. Why they're deciding to cut food stamps to people because they just outright refuse to work. And many of them, they claim to have a disability when they don't actually have one. And I think it depends on the state you live in. But I heard a rumor, I don't know if it's exactly true or not, but there's people who are getting they're getting put on Social Security disability because they have they've been diagnosed with things like financial PTSD because I'm not making any money. I was laid off, so I'm dealing with financial PTSD. I don't think that they actually diagnose it as financial PTSD. They just diagnose it as PTSD. Now you don't have to work anymor because now you're on disability.
I'm professionally disabled.
See what I mean?
And his job.
I have a feeling that okay, whatever. I have a feeling that their fingers work so they can type on a keyboard. Their voices obviously work so they can speak on a telephone. They're able-bodied. I don't care if they have diabetes. I don't care like what they've got going on. They're obviously able-bodied enough to, they are enough to make whatever this is, a TikTok or whatever. Get back to work, ladies.
Taking care of the
and gentlemen, man.
He gets paid for taking care of me instead of doing it for free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because let's be for real, sometimes
I've heard of this shit too.
I have to feed you.
There is no shame left anymore. It is absolutely wild. So many modern women today, and of course, some of the extremely progressive men, they have no shame anymore. And they post, I've said this a couple of times, that they will post literally anything and they just don't care anymore. There was a lady that I saw, she was bragging about how she was getting over $3,000 in food stamps, and she just bought a brand new Range Rover. And her Range Rover monthly bill was like $1,100 or $1,200 something dollars or whatever a month. And she was bragging about it, just like she is. It's insane. You would think at least during the Trump administration, you might want to bite your tongue before you start saying this shit, because they're probably watching.
I have to make sure you're bathed sometimes.
Or maybe not. What do I know?
I have to take you out for enrichment.
You sometimes have to dress me because I won't dress myself.
Yeah, you're literally not dressed now.
It's not disabled. It's lazy.
You have to make sure that I take my socks off because sometimes I forget I'm wearing socks and then I cry about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're like, are you wearing socks? And then I look down and I'm wearing socks and then I stop crying.
Mm-hmm. And I have to make sure you take your medication.
Yeah.
And I have to clean up after you because you're incapable of doing it.
And look, man, that's not a bad looking place. That's a roomy looking place. So who knows how much that place costs, which I'm sure the taxpayers are funding as well.
Physically and mentally. I have to do your laundry because you can't get up and down the stairs.
Yeah.
Even though she's downstairs.
Yeah.
Oh my God, dude. These people are fucking retarded. But yeah, that's what our tax money's going to. It's going to people who just refuse to work. They claim to have some disability, and they'll find, I guess, an affirming doctor who just agrees with whatever you say. Yeah, I have diabetes and financial PTSD. Oh, you certainly do. All right, we're going to improve your disability. Anyway, so you and your party are garbage. Oh yeah, by the way, that's in response to not this video. I guess I could look into comments on this too. I mean, I can only expect what people might be saying. I didn't ask to pay for this clown show. I am disgusted. And a couple of modern barnyard animals gone wild. Let's see. Yep, took care of my mother-in-law for 10 years, never got a dime. I bet 1 million people have that same story. I mean, like, imagine what people in Japan would say. Isn't that part of their culture that you're supposed to take care of your aging parents, that they move in with you and then they live with you until their last dying day? And I believe that's a thing in Japan. It's just what they've been doing for all time in Japan, probably for thousands of years. So I would love to get their take on this, that the government will actually pay you to take care of people who can't work, who just happen to be in your family. That's what family is supposed to be for. It's like, no wonder the nuclear family is collapsing, because, if you end up in a situation where you can't work, All you have to do is just find a boyfriend or a girlfriend or just some person who needs a place to live and just make them your caretaker and the government will pay you. It's absolutely crazy. Somebody needs to be reported. Yeah. Well, I'm sure they are. I mean, how many likes did this thing get anyway? 3,800. Actually, a lot less than I would have expected. Well, Defiant L's, I think, 1.6 million followers. I'm surprised it only got that. Surprised it didn't get like 50, 60,000 likes. It usually does. I'm a social worker, and there are so many people who actually need these services that can't get them. Yeah, I'm sure. But these two aren't very smart. Hopefully someone figures out who they are and they get reported. They probably will. Plus, they took this video from somewhere. I bet a lot of people, wherever they originally posted this, are probably saying the same thing. Disability Deceit Unmasked. All it takes is just one person who was denied, who actually really does need that kind of health care or in-home care, and they were denied for whatever reason, and they see this, that's gonna piss them off to the point where they're actually gonna try to figure out who they are. Especially a keyboard warrior, sitting on 4chan all day. If they actually see that video, God help them, because they getting reported. This is why there isn't enough money to adequately care for people who are truly, sadly disabled. To me, that's the worst kind of evil, stealing from disabled people. Yeah, they literally are stealing from disabled people. They quite literally are. I'm a disabled veteran, and it took me 20 years to get my disability, and this makes me fucking sick. Yeah, and you vote for Democrats, you'll get a lot more of this. They already said the quiet part out loud in AOC's Green New Deal. She said that they want to give universal basic income to individuals who are unwilling to work. They actually worded it that way. Verbatim. Alrighty. So let me get back to the main one. I don't even remember what the fuck that it even said. Oh yeah, this bozo. Alright. They aren't Americans, and please stop recording yourself. It's gross. Illegals, stop calling them Americans. Corruption pays that well. Unfit for Congress. Shut up. Stop calling illegals Americans. You are not gaslighting your way into an $11.5 trillion spending bill. That probably is a typo because it's $1.5 trillion. Illegals are not entitled to free healthcare while the American people have to pay for it. This is one of the stupidest things ever. Yep, it is. It is. Could not agree more. All right, we got something from Barack Obama. That didn't get ratioed, did it? No, it didn't. I don't know. Somehow that found its way on here. Maybe this got ratioed. Did this one get ratioed? Nope. No, it's just an oversight on my part. But whatever, it's already here, so I might as well look at it. We need more ideas like the one Senator Mark Kelly has outlined on how we can shape the future being created by artificial intelligence. I just released my AI for America roadmap, and it boils down to this. The companies driving and profiting the most from AI need to do their part to strengthen our workforce, modernize our energy infrastructure, and ensure safety. So in other words, absolutely nothing, because he literally just said nothing at all. What is modernize our energy infrastructure? What is that? The Trump administration is doing that right now. They're already doing that. They're rolling back tons of EPA regulations that were set up by Barack Obama. What do you know? And he did back in 2009. Having to do with climate change. They put all kinds of fucking regulations through the EPA to really clamp down very heavily on America's ability to produce more energy, especially electricity. I mean, I don't think a single power plant has been constructed since then. I don't think any has. So the Trump administration's rolling all that back, and they're cutting a ton of red tape with regard to nuclear power. And now there's a company, which I mention all the time, company in Tennessee, they're producing small modular nuclear reactors. Assembly line. They're factory built modular nuclear reactors. They're like these little, they're like these little not tiny boxes, but they're built in a factory. And then they can be shipped by semi-truck to whatever location that they're going to go. And each one of those can power thousands of homes. And they are building the hell out of them, thank God. Well, as of right now, they're not. They're in the process of building the facility right now. So by 2027, they're going to be producing between 100 to 500 of them per year. And I'm assuming just more factories are going to get built with regard to that, but that's going to revolutionize energy 100%. So Trump administration is already doing this. Anyway, AI needs to do their part to strengthen our workforce. So what does that mean? I don't get it. If they're using AI to automate and they don't have a need for certain employees because AI took over, what do you mean? Are you just going to hire people and have them just do absolutely nothing? Because I'm sure that the AI support system with regard to humans supporting AI, it's probably going to be a smaller number of people than those who AI is replacing. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense. So we're going to create AI, and all these companies are going to roll out AI initiatives. So company A, they're going to let go 500 employees because AI took their jobs. So in turn, we're going to hire 1,000 people to take care of the whole AI infrastructure in the company. That doesn't really make a lot of sense. Learn more at Kenny. Oh, really? All right, let's take a look at this. See what he's got here. Oh, it's a PDF. PDF. Blank page. We're living in the most significant technological disruptions in history. Blah, blah, blah. I don't think everybody would word it that way. The AI Horizon Fund, powered by industry, built for prosperity, securing workers' future in the AI economy. Oh, yeah? Here, let's go to that one. Page 7. One thing is certain, the adoption of generative AI is already reshaping work. We should start by taking a closer look at our K through 12 and post-secondary education to get students the exposure and lessons needed to use AI as a tool, not a crutch. Well, the First Lady of the United States is already doing that. Melania Trump, that's her #1 initiative right now, is to get AI education to K through 12 kids. So this dude is just literally copy-pasting everything that Trump and the First Lady's doing. So it would seem. Make sure our next generation can get ahead to better integrate employment data with education systems. All right, well, we must have in mind workers at every stage of their careers. All right, so keeping them in mind, how is that going to, tangibly get people to work who AI had replaced? Well, we just have to think about them, and, you just have to believe, and everything works out just fine. Our society thrives when employment is high and income equality is low. Duh. It's just all generic. I mean, I'm not reading through every word because obviously it's going to take forever, but how we invest in people. Here we go. Finally, some bullet points. Can I make this bigger? Yes, I can. Let's full screen this shit. All right. We can do this by... There we go. We can do this by focusing the fund and government efforts to create upskilling and reskilling opportunities, utilizing the proven union apprenticeship model, community college courses, and public-private partnerships. All right. Equip students to augment and expand learning opportunities with AI rather than letting students use AI tools as a crutch to undermine learning. I mean, extremely generic, but okay. Reimagine credentialing and certification standards to reflect the realities of AI use in the workplace and expand accelerator programs. But, give us an example. Like what? Prepare workers and employers with digital literacy training and AI boot camps that get them new skills on responsible AI use. So what? Like we're going to take a boot camp on how to use ChatGPT? Research the AI transition and the evolution of AI to map the skills of the future and deploy that data to help workers. I agree with that. I think that would be a good thing to do. Not sure if that should be government funded. I don't think that really should be the government doing that. I think that should just organically be happening out in the workforce. All right. Support displaced workers through an AI economic... Oh, here it comes. That's what I was waiting for. So basically, we're just going to give a bunch of free money to people who lost their jobs because of AI. Support displaced workers through an AI economic adjustment program that includes an expanded safety net, including more generous unemployment insurance that gives workers the time to figure out what's next for them. Incentivize collaboration that includes workers and labor unions in the design and deployment of AI to maximize AI that benefits workers. All right. Well, anyway, if you want to check that out, I'll put it in the description for you if you want. Kelly.senate.gov. All right. Anyway, in other words, you want to take private enterprise and control it. Probably, yeah, actually. Now, is it important Biden era tried to squash it. You losers are always late to the game. Mark Kelly, literally a dickhead Chinese spy. Balloon ass fuck, lock him up. Prosecute him. All right. Demands. The best way to help America, Mark, is for you to get out of the way. Yeah, for Democrats to get out of the way. That's what Trump is doing. What is it for every regulation that the Trump administration adds to the books? They're taking away, what was the number, like 15? And as far as the EPA goes, right now they're at a point where for every regulation they've added to the EPA so far this year, they've taken away like 30. It was a really high number. Like they've rolled back dozens of regulations, just cut them out altogether. So Doge AI, another day, another bureaucratic AI roadmap that misses the point. The real issue, Washington's obsession with regulating innovation while ignoring its own inefficiency. Take the Joint Autonomy Office, $55 million spent in 2024 to quote-unquote coordinate autonomous systems while DoD still can't pass a basic audit. So yeah, companies drive progress through competition. Yeah, not through government enforcement. Bought and paid for by the CCP. You're a traitor to the United States, you effing little B. Former astronaut Senator Mark Kelly started spy balloon company funded by China. Really? You don't say. I missed that. Kind of how like you work to get those spy balloons over America. All right, yeah, so that's where all those comments are in regards to. Socialism, government forcing companies to hire and fire based on its whims. We must allow the companies to innovate. Sounds like DEI from the right. Trump garbage. All life is sacred. Mark, maybe you should concentrate on teaching your party what a real Nazi looks like, not implying it's you, which is precisely the point. Your average 20-year-old in today's America has heard your party bleat on about how Trump is Hitler and his voters are Nazis. And guess what? A week ago, one of them believed you and you took action. Do better, yeah? All right. Anyway, I'm going to head back to the next one. Rep. John Larson. Ratioed? No. Well, what the hell's wrong with me, man? I didn't... Whatever. 14 years ago, we ended Don't Ask, Don't Tell, ensuring gay and lesbian service members can openly serve our country. Now, Trump is imposing a discriminatory trans military ban. I'm fighting with the Equality Caucus to ensure everyone who wants to serve and is qualified can do so. No, it just comes down to biology, dude. You have a Y chromosome, you can't be paired up with double X chromosomes in the military. It's just that simple. Hope to see you on the front line then. We need capable people in the military, not people who will have a tantrum in the middle of the night. Yeah, really. Plus, weren't they getting to the point where they were going to pay for sexual reassignment surgeries for anyone who's in the military? At least that's what they were aiming for. Maybe even for a period of time they actually did it. House Democrats. That one didn't either. What the hell's wrong with me, man? Maybe they've changed since then. Okay, that one did. That one hasn't. It must have been at the time I grabbed these. Yeah, see, that one hasn't either. They must have been ratioed at the time that I grabbed them. Because, yeah, I thought I got all 10. So this one probably only had like 1 or 2 likes when I first grabbed it. And now it's just grown. Because, you know, that's how it works over time. More people like things. Anyway, we will not rubber stamp Republicans' continuing resolution that does nothing to fix the healthcare crisis that they've created. Save healthcare. It's all about the healthcare today. Anyway, Republicans created Obamacare, right? Nice try, though. Well, not really. We all know what you want to keep healthy. It's not us. It's your bank accounts and never-ending flow from lobbyists and NGOs. We're not falling for it. Okay, liars. Washington Democrats who are now officially threatening a government shutdown unless they get reinstallment of free health insurance for illegals, which is already a full stop. And they know it's a full stop. They know that Republicans are not going to go for that because Republicans are working overtime to get all of them out of the country altogether. Because if you're offering free health insurance for illegal aliens, what does that say to anyone who's outside of the United States who wants to come to the United States? That gives them just another reason to come here, especially if they have a pre-existing condition. There's probably a lot of illegal immigrants who have ongoing chronic health issues that migrated to the U.S. just so they can get free health care. It makes the problem worse, way worse. $500 million for liberal news outlets and other partisan priorities, totaling a massive $1.5 trillion spending hike. tacked onto a simple CR. I think I did read that earlier, though, didn't I? It's a continuing resolution. It's not supposed to fix anything. Loser Democrats are trying to move the goalpost and are wanting to shut down the country in order to provide health care for illegals. States have insurance commission. Wait a minute. Did I already go through this? Dude, like, or am I having deja vu or something? I literally read that same comment. What does this apply here? Bill Smith. I'm hesitant. Let's see. Extremism. Hold on. You have a source for this video. It needs to be widely shared. You can download it and share it that way. Well, yeah, you can download it and share it. But do you have a source, though? Oh, wait. No. He's asking for probably just like where it is so he can download it. Know what you mean? All right. It looks like it might be safe for YouTube. That's what I'm mainly looking for. I have no idea what this is.
Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans.
But we'll find out.
Represent an extremism.
Why not, man? It's the weekend.
Threatens the very foundations of our republic.
It's called stochastic terrorism. The term sounds complicated, but the meaning is simple. Stochastic means random, unpredictable, but statistically inevitable. Terrorism here means the use of fear and violence for political gain.
Which is what they've been doing for 10 years now.
It describes a process where leaders, parties, or the press use words, not bullets, to inspire violence.
Yep.
They demonize their opponents, calling them monsters, traitors, or worse. They never say pull the trigger. Instead, they create the environment where someone else eventually
does
will.
It for them. Yep.
That is the essence of stochastic terrorism. The pattern is always the same. 1. Inflammatory language is broadcast into the culture. 2. Plausible deniability shields the speaker. I never told anyone to commit violence. 3. Radicalized.
Yeah, that's what they'll say. They'll say, well, I never actually told somebody to kill anybody. I didn't say go do X. No, they didn't. And that's how they're able to get away with it. That's it. They're, what would you call that? Free speech loopholes? I mean, not really. I mean, it technically falls under free speech, which is what makes this so problematic. And I'm not sure exactly how they go about, putting a stop to it. I don't think they can. I think all that could really happen is just the masses wake up to it and fight back against it. And by fight, I'm talking, I guess, to start with the ballot box. And let's hope that that gets squashed right then and there. But I think in the long run, they really need to investigate universities. The government's got to do something with regard to universities and getting all these communist professors out that just keep brainwashing our youth. And the same goes with K through 12. Not all K through 12, of course, maybe not even most, but there's too many that are.
Or unstable individual acts. 4. The cycle repeats, the responsibility is avoided. This is not accidental. This is willful and deliberate. They know exactly what they are doing, and history proves it. Nazi Germany, Joseph Goebbels' propaganda machine labeled Jews as subhuman and vermin. The German people were told these neighbors were a threat to society itself. Violence became inevitable, and millions looked the other way. Rwanda, 1994. The radio station RTLM called the Tutsi minority cockroaches. That language primed the minds of ordinary citizens to carry out one of the fastest...
Oh man, there was a... Don Cheadle was in a movie about that. Hotel Rwanda, that's what it's called. That movie was amazing. Really good movie. Very horrific.
You see the pattern? The language comes first. The violence follows. Today in America, a domestic terrorism movement grows. Not in the shadows, but in broad daylight.
Yep, on the mainstream
media.
When
the left calls their political opponents Nazis, evil, or enemies of the people, their objective is clear. Dehumanize them, justify their removal, and silence them through fear.
And this is why the whole conversation with national divorce is the dumbest and most psychotic argument ever. And a lot of people on the right are saying that that might be the only path forward. We just do a national divorce, which means that this side of the country, they just go left and the other side go right. You can't do that because, first off, Democrats, progressives, leftists, they're not going to just let the nuclear arsenal just fall into the hands of the right. And I have a feeling that after probably years of intense negotiations, the right may concede the majority of them or something like that. All I know is that all that's going to happen is that one side who has the most military power is just going to exterminate the other side and rejoin the country. And now it'll be a communist hellhole from sea to shining sea.
My lifelong question has always been, how could the German people look the other way as the Nazis carried out the final solution.
Many of them probably
Now
didn't
you
know.
are seeing the
I don't know.
answer in real time in the sickening spectacle of people cheering the assassination of Charlie Kirk.
Well,
The
yeah,
Democrat Party has a responsibility.
that's actually a point. Pretty
The
good
press
point.
has a responsibility, and so do the universities, which have poisoned impressionable minds with hatred.
Yeah, I only say that they didn't know because from like regular everyday like townsfolk or whatever, and there was a concentration camp like 2 miles out of town. That's what the townspeople said. Probably not telling the truth. I'm sure that they knew. In fact, I'm sure like a lot of the military, the allies were like, how the hell could you not know that this was happening like 2 miles from your home? Like you absolutely knew. And that's why they dragged those townspeople into those concentration camps and they forced them to clean up the mess and, bury the dead and things like that.
Intolerance and a warped view of history. Together, they have manufactured the conditions for violence. They must face that responsibility. They must accept culpability. Because when you light the fuse, you cannot act surprised when the explosion comes. My friends, we are all anonymous, and today we are Charlie Kirk. They fear us not because we are violent, but because we see through their lies.
We have a Timu Hitler
And we are very well
in the White
armed.
House right now.
I just want to say that I have never promoted violence whatsoever.
Oh, bullshit. Yeah, okay. Now, this video is a perfect reason why the Second Amendment must be protected. That is the hill to die on. If there's a hill for conservatives to die on, that is the hill. Because if you allow them to take away our guns, it is over. And that is exactly what they're going to do. In the long run, they're going to exterminate anyone and everyone who, first of all, voted for Trump. They're going to purge everybody right off the bat as far as that goes. Anybody who has ever identified as MAGA. Of course, they're going to go through everyone's social media history. You can delete your profiles. You can set it to private. It's not going to make a difference because they'll have control over the federal government and all the intelligence agencies. One way or another, they're going to find something once upon a time where you said something relating to you being a conservative in some way, shape, or form. And then you'll be added to the list. And then you'll be hauled away in, I don't even know what, train cars or whatever the hell. And I know a lot of people are like, nah, come on, that's not possible. Not in America. That's not going to happen here in America. Well, I'm sure a lot of people were saying that back in the day, early 20th century, who were living in certain areas like, oh no, it can't get that bad. I mean, even a lot of Jewish people who were living in Germany during the 1930s, they probably said the same thing. I think there might have even been references to that in Schindler's List. Like the Polish Jews, they were saying, oh, no, that couldn't happen here. No, that's not. No, they can't do that. They can't take away all of our money. They can't force us to move out. We're citizens of this country. But they did. All right. Yeah, I got to skip past that because that's not friendly for YouTube, probably. Democrat cult is a religion of self-hatred that teaches whites to hate their race, men to hate their strengths, women to hate their femininity, and Americans to hate their country. 100%. That is absolutely correct. Democrats have such extreme Trump derangement syndrome that they want to cut $50 billion in funding to rural hospitals and remove safeguards to prevent non-citizens from receiving government benefits. All right. Let's see. Okay. Anyway, let's see. Once again, you put illegals of citizens above citizens. Yeah, that's been going around a lot today. House Democrats are crying about a healthcare crisis they helped create. The GOP's continuing resolution avoids funding their ACA subsidies because those temporary fixes don't solve the real problem, a bloated system riddled with Medicaid fraud and bureaucratic waste. Like I said, healthcare, goods and services. I'm not so sure if the right answer is having the federal government regulate the costs of goods and services in the healthcare industry. Something's got to give, though. Because that's why everything's so damn expensive. All right, let me just go on to the next one here. Let's see. Donald Trump is separating immigrant families, ripping children from their parents, and traumatizing kids for life. It's beyond cruel, and Americans will not stand for it. Let's give this a listen.
This indiscriminate immigration enforcement has led to an increased number of family separations. According to a report earlier this year, more than 400 children have been sent to the Office of Refugee Resettlement Shelters from the interior of the United States.
Yeah, because they weren't their real parents. In many, many, many cases, they weren't even related to them at all. And plus, when all these these immigrant children by the hundreds of thousands were coming into the United States. Border Patrol under Biden, or whatever the government entities were that were getting names and all that, they weren't even vetting, they weren't even checking. And I just saw the other day that many of these coyotes and these smugglers that were smuggling children in, who didn't have their parents with them, they were completely all by themselves. They were being fed drugs. They were given THC gummies. They were given, what was it? NyQuil, I think it might have been. Yeah, they were given drugs to make them extremely tired. So whenever they were asked a question, they were just too out of it to answer. That way they wouldn't let it slip and say, no, that's not my dad, or that's not my mom. So that was happening
in
under
some
Democrats.
cases. Parents are being told that their children will be taken away unless they give up their right to a hearing.
Oh, please show us. Show us the documents. Show us the interview. Show us the instances, because all that is just your words. And I don't exactly wholeheartedly trust Democrats these days, especially not what they say.
And to their country of birth. In other cases, children who arrived as unaccompanied minors are being sent back to government shelters for months after they had already been released to vetted sponsors.
All right. Talking about children that were pouring in by the hundreds of thousands during the Biden administration, who was, I think he was a Democrat, right? I think that was y'all who were doing that. Let's see, the Democrats' Biden administration, they lost over 400,000 children in just 4 years. 400,000 children went completely missing only because of Democrats. They have absolutely nothing to stand on because they allowed 400,000 children to disappear. Probably way more than that, to be honest. Hillary has no problem with deportations. Crime, deport them. If they enter the country illegally, then they committed a crime. That's hilarious. Let's listen to Hillary Clinton.
If they've committed a crime, deport them. No questions asked. They're gone. If they've been working and are law-abiding, we should say, here are the conditions for you staying. You have to pay a stiff fine because you came here illegally. You have to pay back taxes, and you have to try to learn English, and you have to wait in line.
The tables have turned. That was when she was running in 2008. So it wasn't forever ago. It was a little while ago, but it wasn't all that long ago. The Muslim Brotherhood is a dangerous organization and needs to be banned in the United States. Exactly what I voted for. Deport all illegal aliens. Americans first drives this terrorist crazy. It was like 78% of Americans are for, not against, but for mass deportations. Democrats are domestic terrorists, yeah. Well, they're absolutely weaponizing the First Amendment to the absolute most extreme degree possible. If someone, look, I think that's why they should have dismantled the CIA many years ago, because I bet that they're behind a lot of this shit. Because it seems to be something that they're effective at doing psyops. And I'm sure a lot of this probably has its roots in the CIA when they came up with all these ideas and they just passed them off to Democrats and say, here you go, happy hunting. If someone is arrested for DUI and there are kids in the vehicle, the driver goes to jail, the kids do not. Same thing for someone here illegally. By the way, had the illegals learned English, integrated into society, applied for citizenship, none of this would be happening. You shouldn't have supported open borders. When you break the law, you have to deal with the consequences. Yep. Too many Democrats, they don't believe in accountability anymore, and they don't believe in consequences. No, that was Obama and Biden. Trump wants the entire family deported, and so do we. Yeah, they've already been clear about that. Trump administration's already been clear about that. They're not separating children from their parents. They're not separating them from their families. In fact, they're having them take DNA tests to confirm that they are. That way, they will not, under any circumstances, even do that. And I'm sure while they're waiting for those results to come in, they're probably staying with whoever they're with, or maybe not. If they can't definitively prove, show me a family album, show me something that verifies that this is your child. Wait, what is that? Died hours after routine vaccines. Oh, vaccines. Why are you in charge of our nation's laws when you do not uphold and instead break them? Hey, 2 cats back to back. What part of illegal entry do you not understand? All right. Apparently she's promoting Hamas. Would not surprise me. Trump is firing anybody who gets in his way. Let's see how badly they chop this one up.
2 bad guys, they are, Warner and Kane, Two bad guys.
This afternoon, President Donald Trump attacked me and Senator Tim Kaine for doing our jobs. And our job was to recommend to the White House candidates for U.S. Attorney in the Western District and the Eastern District of Virginia. We nominated solid candidates that had strong Republican credentials. Trump administration even thanked us for working cooperatively. Today, our candidate for the Eastern District of Virginia appears to be on the way of being thrown out of his job because he wouldn't bend the law to go after President Trump's political enemies.
Are you disappointed that the
right.
U.S.
I'll believe it when I
Eastern
see
District
it.
of Virginia has not prosecuted Letitia James? Do you intend to fire him?
Yeah, I want him out, yeah.
A similar case
that
happened
sounded a little
with
chopped
the
up
US
to me.
Attorney in the Western District. We worked with the Trump administration.
So disingenuous.
The Trump administration selected these individuals. They are of high character. And now because they won't bend the law to meet President Trump's desire to
See, look, they're obviously already gearing up for any excuse that they could come up with, which this will be the excuse if Democrats end up taking back the House when they impeach, not if, when they impeach Trump. This will be the one excuse that they will try to run it on.
vengeance on political enemies.
You see how they're setting up the
They
dominoes
both
for that?
lost their job.
I mean, that's obviously what he's doing. All right. Oh, yeah. This one did get ratioed. Trump is firing anyone who gets in his way. Oh, wait. No, it wasn't. Like I said, it was earlier. Pretty sure it was. That's what the majority of America voted for. Remember, for our democracy. Oh, go suck yourself. You like sack of shit. Kimmel started losing his audience. Okay, yeah, so that's about Kimmel. I don't blame him. You guys have lost your minds. You're supposed to work for Trump and American people, not with. I wish he would fire you. So did Biden's auto pen. Too bad you can't be one of them, Warner. Before you ask, we voted for this. Yeah. Warner's been in the swamp so long he doesn't remember what it means to be in the executive office. You are a liar, mister. I've only served 2 terms. I don't believe liars. Hopefully you're next. Whiny crybaby. Great. A gif, of course. He's the boss, remember? Yep, he's the boss. Pretty sure he can fire anybody he wants. I mean, is basically anyone. I know, with a lot of people that he's tried to fire or that he should have the authority to. It's been the courts who have been acting as those who can really dictate what goes on in the executive office, which I'm sure isn't exactly constitutional. People getting fired happens all the time. Yep. As he should. Y'all made his life hell for the first 4 years and you're still doing it. Let him do his job and maybe it's time that you get off X and do yours too. If you can't do that, you need to resign. Yeah, remember this face before you vote for Democrats again. Yeah. That was pretty brutal, man. Happy Halloween. Jimmy was fired because of his ratings and economic performance, the bottom line. Yep. People fire themselves for being incompetent. There, I fixed it for you. All right. Move on to the next one here. Hello. Hundreds of peaceful protesters and I got tear gassed at the ICE Broadway facility this morning. This is what your this is what your taxpayer dollars are being used for. Oh, it's only a 5-second clip. How convenient. Now, does it look like these protesters are standing on the sidewalk, or does it look like that they're obstructing? To me, it looks like they're obstructing. Because a peaceful protest is when you stand on the sidewalk and you stay out of the way and you allow normal operations to continue. But you hold up the signs, you yell, chant, do whatever you do, but you can't obstruct, which is what they're doing. They're standing in the way of the ICE facility and their ability to get vehicles out of the gate. And as a result, ICE came out and shoved everybody out of the way so they can get their vehicles out of the facility. And a lot of people got tear gassed because they were obstructing. And I saw a lot of posts or replies going around. There was a whole bunch of these different videos that were circulating around today and last night. And yeah, like people were they were posting statutes, federal statutes stating that if you obstruct the daily activities of federal law enforcement, you can get up to, 6 years? No, actually, I think it was 8 years in prison. I think it was like up to 8 years in federal prison for obstruction. And if you injure any federal officer, you'll get up to 20 years in federal prison. It looked like they arrested one, maybe a couple of people from this situation, but they did not arrest nearly enough. They should have arrested every single person here and charged them, made examples out of them, because those are not peaceful protesters. I mean, you can just watch the video for yourself. You can tell they're not peaceful protesters. They're all clearly extremely rowdy. Peaceful protesters just stand like statues and hold signs and chant. That's what peaceful protesters do. When it looks like fucking mayhem like it does, yeah, that's not peaceful. And again, there's a reason why they only showed 5 seconds of that. And the reason is because it was not a peaceful protest. So yeah, anyway, that's all I got. So I think I'm going to jump into my likes. Maybe see what I got. Let's see. Oh yeah, this was last night. I barely missed this for last night's episode. The U.S. military forces conducted a strike against a designated terrorist organization engaged in narco trafficking. Intelligence confirmed the vessel was trafficking illicit narcotics and was en route to poison Americans. The strike killed 3 male narco terrorists. Probably no sound. I mean, it's from a drone. You know, why would there be sound? But they actually follow it for quite a bit, and then they eventually do what you think they're gonna do. There we go. Bam! I think I saw it from here. Yep, saw it. Looked like there was more than one. Looked like there was like 3. Yeah, it looked like 2. Damn, dude. It's like fucking tungsten rods. Went straight down. Bam! And there's the wreckage. That's what happens when you try to traffic drugs into the United States under the Trump administration. You get dealt with. Oh yeah. And what's left over sinks to the bottom of the ocean. From Donald J. Trump's Truth Social. On my orders, the Secretary of War ordered a lethal kinetic strike on a vessel affiliated with a designated terrorist organization conducting narco trafficking in the U.S. Southcom area of responsibility. Intelligence confirmed the vessel was trafficking illicit narcotics and was transiting along a known narco trafficking passage en route to poison Americans. The strike killed 3 male narco-terrorists aboard the vessel, which was in international waters. No U.S. forces were harmed in this strike. Stop selling fentanyl, narcotics, and illegal drugs in America and committing violence and terrorism against Americans. Yeah, don't do that. Stop doing that. All right, let me go back. Let's see. The man who attempted to kill Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh identifies as a transgender woman and was deeply mentally ill and suicidal, according to documents first obtained by Real Daily Wire. Details below. How interesting. I wish I could make it larger. All right, so way down here at the very bottom, it says this. The case is captioned as United States versus Nicholas John Roske. R-O-S-K-E. That name remains Ms. Roske's legal name, and she has not asked to recaption the case. Out of respect for Ms. Roske, the balance of this pleading and counsel's in-court argument will refer to her as Sophie and use female pronouns. So there you go. The Brett Kavanaugh attempted assailant is transgender. Uh-oh. And I guess I could read a few of the comments. Oh, details. Oh, they got a thread, huh? Oh, they do. Look at this. The Department of Justice is recommending that Nicholas Roske, the defendant, should be sentenced to 30 years for attempting to kill a United States Supreme Court justice. In the filings, and I'll get to the article, in the filings obtained by the Daily Wire, DOJ attorneys argue that the court's sentence must send the unequivocal, clear, and strong message that attempted violence and threats of violence against members of the judiciary, as well as other public and federal officials, cannot and will not be tolerated and will be justly and severely condemned. The revelation that Roske has been using a female name and pronouns is significant given the rise of transgender violence across the United States. A gunman living with his transgender boyfriend is accused of murdering Turning Point USA founder Charlie Kirk last week. Kirk's murder came only a few weeks after 23-year-old trans-identifying gunman named Robin Westman opened fire on Catholic school children as they prayed in Minneapolis. Kirk's accused killer, 22-year-old Tyler Robinson, was living in a relationship with a 22-year-old trans-identified male named Lance Twiggs, thrown out of his family home for allegedly abusing drugs and alcohol and excessive gaming. That's new. I didn't hear about that. Though it was reported in 2022 that Roski portrayed himself as a self-styled trans gamer girl on the internet, more information about the attempted assassin's gender identity has not been made available to the public. Roski's story had largely vanished from public scrutiny other than occasional updates on his sentencing and charges. The DOJ filings reveal how Roski, motivated by the leak of the draft Supreme Court opinion showing Roe v. Wade would soon be overturned, scoured the internet for information on how to assassinate a Supreme Court justice. So that's what motivated her. After the leak published by Politico in May 2022, Roski searched terms relating to combat and body armor approximately 28 times. Within a month, he had searched for firearms-related terms over 90 times. That included quietest semi-auto rifle, gun calibers, best silencers for Glock 17, and more. It's not called a silencer, buddy. It's called a suppressor. He was also searching, do snipers aim for the head or the chest? Does the Secret Service protect Supreme Court justices? And easiest way to open a locked door. Also, how to break glass quietly, how to make shoes quieter, and how to make handcuffs with zip ties. Well, at least according to Hollywood, you take your shoes off. You walk around in socks. Anyway, on Discord, he was asking his online friends, would Associate Justice's last name be removed from the Supreme Court help women long term? And I was thinking of the Roe decision. I feel like those 9 people make a much bigger impact than most people. And, quote, the thought of Roe v. Wade and gay marriage both being repealed has me furious, end quote. He was also researching how to kill people. Between May and June of 2022, Roski was looking into the, quote, most effective place to stab someone, end quote, and, quote, how to quietly knock someone out, end quote. He was searching, quote, how far into the neck is the trachea, unquote. Also, quote, what is the best length of knife for stabbing, unquote. And the third one is, quote, most effective way to silently kill someone, end quote. And, quote, how much force do you need to stab someone's neck, end quote. Worth noting, this looks like the last one here, Kavanaugh was not his only target. Nicholas Roski was hoping to kill at least 3 Supreme Court justices, according to the DOJ filings. Quote, in the spring of 2022, the defendant meticulously researched, planned, and attempted to assassinate at least 1, but had a stated target of 3 sitting judges of the United States Supreme Court. The defendant's explicit objective was to single-handedly alter the constitutional order for ideological ends. Those plans, mercifully, were disrupted upon the defendant's arrival at the first Associate Justice's residence due to the presence of a protective security detail, and the defendant was arrested at that location. The defendant's own words show that the defendant was, quote, shooting for 3, end quote, assassinations, emphasis added. A map saved in the defendant's Google account contained location pins marking what the defendant believed to be the residential addresses of 4 sitting Supreme Court justices. What a monster, man. Was this an article as well? Yeah, here we go. I'll link those if you want to check those out. I'm sure that the gist of the information was shared in these posts, so probably don't have to go through the articles themselves. The super money, excuse me. Last time searches for help with mortgage spiked like this. Oh, I remember this. We had the greatest housing crisis in living memory. We saw this spike again during COVID, and now in 2025, it's happening again. So people are Googling, quote, help with mortgage, end quote, and it's spiking right now. As I'm sure that look, it was a matter of time. It's a matter of time. I mean, like, what's the average mortgage payment right now? It's like $2,600 or $2,800 a month. That is insane. Let's take a look at this.
Last time searches for help with mortgage spiked like this, we had the worst housing crisis in living memory. Let's look a little closer at those search numbers. Between 2008 and 2010, we saw more than 8 million foreclosures. We saw another jump in 2020 when COVID lockdowns crushed incomes. And now, in 2025, those searches are back near crisis levels. Does this mean another housing crash? Not necessarily. Search data shows anxiety, not guaranteed foreclosures. So here's what you can do. If you're worried about payments, call your lender early. Refinance high-interest debt. Build a cash buffer. Even a small one can make a huge difference. You can't control the economy, but you can control your plan.
All right. Yeah, problematic. A lot of people got homes with 6, 7, 8% mortgage rates, which is insane. I'm sure they probably won't be able to refinance for a while. Plus, look, there's a lot of people who bought homes sooner. I mean, not everybody bought a home in just the last 5 years, but there's a lot of people who purchased a home and it's doubled in value. And a lot of those people, they're getting home equity loans with their newfound fortune, the highly increased value of their home over the last few years. But yeah, man, there's a lot of people who bought a home and they found themselves instantly house poor. Whereas a lot of people, they would buy it. I think this is especially a big problem with new home construction. You buy the house, they build it, and your property taxes are the amount that it was without the house there. Like, that's how much your first year's property taxes come out to. So it's like, I don't know, like $1,000, a couple $1,000. I don't know exactly, like, property taxes. I haven't owned a home. Like, I mean, I did, but it was a while ago. Anyway, so but like the next year, they factor in your taxes with the house on the property, and it explodes in cost for property taxes. And a lot of people are not prepared for that. Plus, with the cost of everything, the cost of appliances, the cost of wood, the cost of just remodeling in general has gone up substantially. Or even if you just have to basically just fix something in your house, like plumbing or electrical or something, it's way more expensive now. Google searches for help with mortgage just blew past 2008 crisis levels. The stress on households is now worse than the last housing crash. This is not normal. Yep. That is not looking good. Not looking good at all, but it was only a matter of time. I mean, like, the average house price in the United States across the country, just on average, is like $380,000 or $400,000 right now. It's unaffordable. You have to be earning over $100,000 a year just to qualify for the average mortgage. And the average household isn't making anywhere near that. Here's another one. Breaking: searches for help with mortgage surpassed 2008 housing crisis. But as the video mentioned, it's people searching for it because they're obviously having trouble with their mortgage. Doesn't necessarily mean that they foreclosed yet. The real crisis kicks in is when all of the foreclosures start coming out. If everybody starts having to foreclose, obviously a big problem. However, the unemployment rate hasn't skyrocketed like it did in 2008. A lot of people, they had to foreclose on their homes because the unemployment rate went up a lot back in 2008. And we're not really seeing that right now. Hopefully we won't see it. A lot of people predict that AI is going to create that huge amount of joblessness, unemployment. We'll just have to wait and see. From Elon Musk: fate loves irony but hates hypocrisy. Tim Waltz yesterday: we have go to get back to decency. I think he meant to say we have got to get back to decency. Tim Waltz 2 weeks ago telling audience how excited he'd be to see Trump dead. What?
But we're talking about this political violence thing. We have got to get back to the decency. You get up in the morning and you doom scroll through things, and although I will say this, the last few days you woke up thinking there might be news. Just saying. There will be news sometime, just so you know, there will be news.
Dude, like, these people are just so evil. And what's crazy is that, you know, this communist hellhole that they want, all in the name of power. I mean, dude ain't going to live a whole hell of a lot much longer. And it just boggles my mind that they just want to just completely eviscerate the country. All in the name of what? I mean, if he's looking to clinch power for the Democratic Party, it's not really going to last all that long, at least not for him. Not that we are going to allow that to happen. We've got the Second Amendment to protect our country against government tyranny, which is very, very obviously happening with the Democratic Party. They have absolutely become a tyrannical party. Eric Daugherty, breaking Antifa in Richmond, Virginia, is now reportedly calling for a violent war with President Trump's ICE and federal agents. Quote, the time for peaceful protest is over. The time for nonviolent action is over. Terrorists. Are you prepared to defend yourself against Trump's militia? ICE. Time for peaceful... Okay, so that's basically what they said. The fascists who support Trump's destruction of the rule of law and disdain of the Constitution do not play by the rules. Fellow citizens, arm yourselves before it's too late. I mean, I'll agree with the last part. Everybody should be armed. Unless, of course, you're a felon. Or if you're dishonorably discharged, or if you have a documented mental illness or a documented drug addiction. And the other one that I know of is domestic violence history. I think those are the main ones. So Adam Carlson, gasp. No evidence found yet of ties between Charlie Kirk's shooting and left-wing groups, officials say. But listen to this, though. 3 people familiar with the federal probe. 3 people familiar with the federal probe. That's the takeaway. Those are not officials. Those are just random people who just heard from a person who heard it from a person that they don't really have anybody with regard to Charlie Kirk's shooter and his affiliation with left-wing groups. So anyway, 3 people familiar with the federal probe into Kirk's assassination told NBC News that investigators have yet to find a link between the alleged shooter and left-wing groups. Well, I'm sure they're pretty tight-lipped on that because the federal government generally, they're not going to divulge that information during an ongoing investigation. Colin Rugg, the man who shot up the ABC affiliate in Sacramento following the suspension of Jimmy Kimmel, has been identified as Anibal Hernandez-Santana. An X account that appears to belong to Hernandez-Santana is full of anti-Trump posts, as reported by Variety. The man, 64 years old, previously worked as a legislative director for the California Federation of Teachers. The outlet reported, quote, the authoritarian oligarchy is now complete. CBS plus caving big law firms in D.C., the subservience, a FBI and AG, university president stepping down, fanboys SCOTUS, public radio, ICE goons. We are going to have to fight like hell, the account that appears to belong to him posted in July. Hernandez-Santana was arrested on charges of assault with a deadly weapon, negligent discharge of a firearm, and shooting into an occupied building. God, man, these people are nuts.
A 64-year-old man named Anibal Hernandez-Santana has been arrested as the suspect in the shooting that led to an investigation here at ABC 10 in Sacramento along Broadway. And as the sun has risen this morning, you can see for yourself plywood over one of the windows in the lobby there. Now, earlier in the day on Friday, police were called here in response to shots fired from outside the ABC 10's building. No one was injured despite the building being occupied at the time. 3 bullet holes were seen in the window on the building's lobby.
Psychotic.
And that's when the investigation began. Later the same day, KCRA3 saw police
totally
in the River Park neighborhood, including SWAT teams. A witness at the scene reported seeing a man tackled and then taken into custody. Sacramento police thanked the FBI for providing resources in its investigation and have asked anyone with further information to contact their department.
Yeah, but Democrats... Democrats' rhetoric, that didn't cause this. We didn't say anything. We didn't incite anybody. We didn't tell anybody to do that. They're going to say not exactly that. Well, no, they're just going to say we didn't do it. We're not verbally committing or like verbal political violence through our speech. We're not doing that. Anyway, 2 black women are caught stealing, and the officers charged them with felony theft because the amount was over $500 worth. One of the women has the audacity to tell the officer that with the store discount, it shouldn't be a felony. Thieves don't get the discount price.
You said that as long as it was under 500, you get something about the citation.
And it's not under 500. I got the receipt right here.
No, that stuff 40 and 50% off, but they add that.
You don't get discounts when you steal stuff. You get it at the market price.
All right.
Yeah, you don't get discounts when you steal stuff.
Wow. Yep. Going to jail. Off to jail. Oh, check this out. New. It's confirmed. Ilhan Omar married her brother per marital records obtained by Steven Crowder. This is immigration fraud. DOJ needs to start the process of revoking Omar's citizenship immediately. Uh-oh. You think they're actually going to? Look, if the Trump administration doesn't, then nobody's going to, clearly. So yeah, supposedly this apparently proves that she married her brother. February 12th, 2009. They've got like an address and they've got the name, signatures. Wish they had a better marriage license application. Yeah, I have no idea what her brother's name is. Apparently it's this like Ahmed Noor said. I don't know. Let me lean in. I can't read it. Noor, yeah, Norsaid. Noor Said Elmi. Ahmed Noor Said Elmi. Is that her brother? I mean, according to Steven Crowder, that is. Columbia Heights in Minnesota. Ilhan Omar. Wait a minute. Oh, yeah, 1985. It's his birth year. Hers is at 1982. Yep. I mean, if that proves it, time for deportation. Time to deport her. And then, who is it? The governor of Minnesota. They replace her with somebody else. I think it's the governor who does that. Very interesting. We'll have to see where that goes. Definitely looking forward to hearing that news. All right. Leftist retard openly hints at doing it. TikTok code for assassinating President Trump, while commenters praise her as their hero and savior. Some even offer to crowdfund her. She's chasing attention? Fine. Let's make her famous.
I'll do it. I'll be the one to do it. If you guys, enough that you guys follow me, I'll take one for the team. I'll do it.
Yeah, but in a court of law, probably wouldn't be charged because the defense attorney will, the leg that they'll have to stand on is that, well, she doesn't say what she's going to do. She just said it. It could mean literally anything. Even if the prosecution, if they do a stellar job at pointing everything directly to it being President Trump, it falls into the jury's hands. Does the jury have beyond any reasonable doubt? Do they believe that to be what her intentions were? That's where this shit gets murky, and it's difficult to convict them of shit like that. Let's see, from the Whatever podcast, she tried to embarrass Charlie Kirk, but he handles it with grace. Here's a clip from Charlie. I've seen this already. I mean, not the clip, I've seen this episode.
Myself, totally acknowledge it, so no one...
Have you jerked off to me?
Oh my God, Molly.
No.
He's thinking.
I've never heard of you before, so yeah.
That's the answer, because your wife is watching.
It's true, I've never heard of you before.
That was kind of out of pocket, Molly.
Molly, I have sympathy for you. I do. You're trying to cope with the suppression of your soul. And filming yourself having sex with other men is not the highest and best use of the talents that God gave you. It's not. And
that is a talent God gave me.
well, it's not the highest and best use, and it's not a talent, because, as I said, in my belief, that should be saved in a sacred domain. We're not going to agree on that, but I hope you change course. I think you'll be happier and more joyful, and I pray you don't have to suffer too much to realize that.
Yeah, well, that ain't happening, but Charlie knows that. He knew that wasn't going to happen. And then she's going to be crying about how she can't find a high-value man now that she's in her 30s. Probably a couple of kids. And the wheels on the bus go round and round on the left with a lot of these modern ladies out there now. Libs of TikTok, this you? Rep Jimmy Gomez, well, it's about damn time. Jack, as in Jack Dorsey, Twitter, Donald J. Trump, account suspended. And she's replying, or Libs of TikTok. excuse me, is replying because Rep. Jimmy Gomez just said the other day, I thought Trump didn't believe in cancel culture. In Trump's America, it's free speech for MAGA, censorship for everyone else. Yeah, no, don't really see it that way. Obviously you don't, because, you know, only when it conveniences you. Ian Jager. Tim Waltz says that Jimmy Kimmel's firing is North Korea-style stuff. Here's Tim Waltz. Deploying the National Guard to prevent families from leaving their homes during the COVID lockdowns. Hey, Tim, this is North Korea-style stuff. So this was during COVID, when they were enforcing the lockdowns.
Look at this. They just
And that's Governor Waltz's military.
Go inside! Get inside! Get inside!
Get inside. What the fuck, dude?
Get inside! Get in your house now! Let's go!
Why? Because of COVID, man.
Go inside now! Get in the house!
What the fuck? What was that, paintball?
Get in. Get in.
Oh, God, that hurt. You good?
Are you okay?
Say we're coming right back out after you walk away.
Okay, you got it.
I'm good.
Maybe a pepper ball? No, it looked like paintball.
Okay.
Oh, those fucking assholes. Oh my God, dude. Thank God I was in Florida during all this shit. Yep, there you go. That's Tim Waltz for you. Oh, but he's the dictator, though, not him. Not Tim Waltz. He's not the dictator. He's not sending around his, by using their language, his Gestapo to force people to stay inside their homes, even though we're supposed to be living in a free country. That didn't look like America to me. U.S. Senator John Fetterman, tomorrow, Charlie Kirk will be laid to rest. Let people grieve and give them the space. Yeah, Fetterman turned out to be somewhat based. Not on everything, probably not even on most things, but every once in a while he says something that's pretty legit. Dinesh D'Souza, she got hosed. I love this so much. Yeah, I've seen this clip before. Boom! Yep, she got hosed. The revelation that Roski has been using a female name and pronouns is significant given the rise in transgender violence across the United States. A gunman living with his transgender boyfriend is accused of murdering Turning Point USA founder Charlie Kirk last week. All right. Basically, I already went over that. Peaceful protest is standing on the sidewalk with signs. Blocking vehicles and interfering with official business is not peaceful protest. It's obstruction. Oh, yeah, this is with regard to the Chicago, the protesters, that 10-second clip that I already showed. I had no problem making it out of the ICE facility. Yeah, there's that one again. When it comes to domestic terrorism, nobody does it like a Democrat. Oh, but that's mostly peaceful. That was the same night, actually, if I'm not mistaken, when CNN was out there saying, it's a mostly peaceful protest, while the entire city block is burning down behind them. Yeah, okay, dude. So peaceful. Feel good video of the day. All right. Yeah, I think I'm just getting into stuff that I was just liking in general. I'm pretty much done. I guess I'll just jump over here, see what's going on right now. I don't know about following. See if there's anything new going on. Actually, let me just do this, just to find out. So what the top today's news are. Trump signs proclamation imposing a $100,000 fee on new H-1B visas. I talked about that last night on The Swamp. Secret Service arrests Joshua Runkles for impersonating an officer at Charlie Kirk Memorial. Yeah, I don't know, man. If anything happens during that event, it's only going to make the Democrats look just way worse. Of course, they're going to try to spin it around on somehow being the Republicans' fault. Tim Tebow Foundation's Night to Shine honors at 107,000 with special needs in 2025. Wow. That is a lot. FAFO. I can only imagine what this is going to be. FAFO, this man needs a medal. Damn, he dwarf tossed. Oh, shit. This isn't in the U.S., though. No. I think a lot of this stuff happens in Germany, doesn't it? Let's see. Oh, yeah, okay. So mask-wearing Illinois congressional candidate, Kat, I'm not even going to try, just got bodied by ICE after trying to fuck with them. Yep, this has been going around a lot today. He just shoves her and she falls right on her ass. I saw that yesterday. I didn't share it on the show last night, because she's not like a sitting member of Congress or anything. So like technically she's not really a member of the swamp. Not yet. Good old fashioned FAFO. Thank you, sir. This is from yesterday.
The crowd backing up, but still facing that line of officers in defiance.
You just saw one of the
Yeah, that's what Democrats do. They're defiant.
Yeah.
Oh, right in his nuts. Hugh Whitney Houston. Oh, that was hilarious. Oh, you know they were aiming for that. Dude, I gotta see that again. Oh, that's hilarious.
Go up there and actually kick a can of that. Yeah.
All right. Well, I hope he wasn't planning on having children. FAFO. I could watch this on a loop 24/7 from Spitfire. Yeah, this is where the mayhem, I think, breaks out. So look, the left, the Democrats are saying that this is a peaceful protest. It's a peaceful protest out in front of the ICE facility in Chicago. Peaceful protesters do not block vehicles. They don't stand in the street. That is disorderly. That's when protesters break the law. And when people are lawfully protesting, which if you're trying to do it by the books, you actually get a permit through the city before you protest, especially if you're going to march, and that way that they can block the roads and you can do your protest, and that's all part of the First Amendment. So, but if you just do like a makeshift protest, if you start getting unruly, if you step out onto the street from the sidewalk, that's when it starts to fall into illegal territory. But they're obviously obstructing. This is obstruction. Back the fuck up.
Oh my god. That was really cool, guys. You guys are super cool for that. Wow.
Get out of the way. The vehicles are moving. Obviously, they've had enough. They're sick of this shit. And notice how all the cameras are there, so they can call them the Nazis and the Gestapo, all that bullshit. And look at her. She just keeps trying, arrest her. Why don't they arrest her? And people were, like I said, people were sharing those two laws with regard to obstruction against federal officers and conducting their duties. Obstruction can carry up to an 8-year sentence in federal prison. They could arrest her right now, and if the judge wanted to make an example out of her, they'd throw her ass in prison for 8 years just for doing what she was doing. Do I think she deserves 8 years? No, honestly, I don't. I don't think she deserves that long, but she definitely deserves to get locked up. Maybe, let's say, for a month, especially when these people know damn well that what they're doing is illegal. And that's what makes it just that much more irritating.
You're gonna need some shit. You already got me earlier. You have to. It's gonna get worse. It's gonna get worse. Oh my god, you guys are awful! What the fuck? We're not threatening anyone. We're not threatening anyone.
Does he have an Elon Musk sign? What a moron.
How is she supposed to move?
Drag her. Get her out. So now she's gonna claim that she's been traumatized for the rest of her life. She has PTSD. Now she's gonna get put on government benefits. She's gonna sue the government for like $10 million. Oh, I mean, the federal government ain't gonna settle for anything. No, actually, what she will do, she'll sue the city of Chicago because, the Chicago police were not here to protect me. This is a sanctuary city, and you weren't here to protect me. So now she's going to sue the city of Chicago for millions of dollars. Of course, they're probably going to pay her because that's what they usually do. It's all on camera, Your Honor. Oh, they actually got the cop off of him, or off of her. Look like they're about to arrest her. Wow. Peaceful protest. They're so peaceful. Yeah, that cop shouldn't have let her go. As soon as they go hands on, they really need to arrest her. because now they're going to try to charge that guy with something. Didn't he pull his mask down? So now they could probably, well, I think he has sunglasses on. They could probably identify him now. Yeah, dude should have, I mean, that dude didn't like pull him back. They should have arrested her. That's what they should have done. 100% should have arrested her. And I don't know why they're not. They're breaking federal law, man. 8 years in prison for obstruction. They're obstructing. Fuck around and find out every American was censored by Democrats on all social media platforms. Then we were propagandized by Democrats. Democrats invented the cancel culture. We're done putting up with your shit. If President Trump said any of this, you people would have had a field day screaming fascist. Well, dude, Trump's not saying any of this shit, and they're still calling him a fascist. See, that's the problem with the Democrats. They've already labeled conservatives and Donald Trump with the most like over-the-top horrific language that they can. They can't really get any worse than what they've already done. So what if Trump actually does start throwing the hammer and, actually start locking up all kinds of people? What are you going to call him then? You can call him a Nazi? That's what you've already been doing. You've been doing that for like 10 years at this point.
You shouldn't be banned from one platform and not others for providing misinformation out there.
There's no guarantee to free speech on misinformation or hate speech, and especially around our democracy.
There are Americans who are engaged in this kind of propaganda, and whether they should be civilly or even in some cases criminally charged is something that would be a better deterrent.
It's not free speech if it's hate speech.
And the source they go to is
okay. Well, calling Charlie Kirk a Nazi, calling Trump a Nazi, calling all conservatives Nazis, that would be hate speech under their definition.
And
no, but it's rules for thee, though, not for me.
They're putting out disinformation. Our First Amendment stands as a major block. It's really hard to govern today.
This is a matter of corporate responsibility.
Wouldn't it just be nice
Twitter
if we just
should be
got
held
rid of that?
accountable and shut down that site. It is a matter of safety and corporate accountability.
The First Amendment is not absolute. It does not protect any single thing anyone says. And there are limits, and that's important. And what this committee has been trying to do for the last year and a half is to chill the federal government from monitoring what is going on social media.
When you look at what Tucker Carlson and some of these other folks on Fox do, it is very, very clearly incitement of violence. Very
literally
clearly
what you're all
incitement
doing
of violence.
right now.
I believe that when it comes to broadcast television like Fox News, these are subject to federal law, federal regulation.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so that would apply to, of course, CNN and MSNBC. So let's line everything up side by side. Let's look at all the stuff that you claim that Fox News has said, and then let's take a look at everything that MSNBC said and CNN said, and let's just apply it to everybody then. But no, they don't want that.
In terms of what's allowed on air and what isn't.
So my biggest concern is that your view has the First Amendment hamstringing the government in significant ways.
Oh, man. And a Supreme Court justice. How do you like that? Just imagine if Democrats, if they put in like if Hillary Clinton won, arguably she would have put in 3 Supreme Court justices. Could you imagine our country today if that were to happen? It would be absolutely insanely chaotic.
You can't say that you have one rule for Facebook and you have a different rule for Twitter. The same rule has to apply, which is that there has to be a responsibility that is placed on these social media sites to understand their power. They are directly speaking to millions and millions of people without any level of oversight,
censorship,
or regulation. And that has to stop.
That's it. Censorship, but only the censorship that they want.
And will put the Department of Justice of the United States back in the business of justice. We will double the Civil Rights Division and direct law enforcement to counter this extremism. We will hold social media platforms.
Again, like 98, 99% of the extremism is happening on the left, but of course he's not talking about them.
Accountable for the hate infiltrating their platforms because they have a responsibility to help fight against this threat to our democracy. And if you profit off of hate, if you act as a megaphone for misinformation or cyber warfare, if you don't police your platforms, we are going to hold you accountable as a community. And we'll put...
All right. Yeah, well, our democracy, we voted for Donald Trump. He got the popular majority. Oh, but they don't like that kind of democracy, though. Anyway, Zuckerberg admits Biden administration pressured Facebook to censor COVID content, says it was wrong to suppress the post's Hunter laptop coverage. Of course, that's what they were doing. Yeah, I think Mark Zuckerberg said that they censored literally anybody that the government wanted them to. This is now my favorite fuck around find out of all time.
So why are you acting like a bloody fool? If you get hot, then you must get cool. Bad boys, what you gonna do? Or what you gonna do when they come for you?
You're gonna get run over.
Bad boys, what you gonna do? Or what you gonna do when they come for you? You chuck it on that one, you chuck it on this one, you chuck it on your mother and you chuck it on your father, you chuck it on your brother and you chuck it on your sister, you chuck it on that.
Okay, nope, can't do it. We're on YouTube. I saw that coming. All right. Look, I can't do it. If he gets run over by a vehicle, I think YouTube's going to have a problem with that. But you know what I'll do? I'll repost it on my X account. And if you scroll down into the description, I've got a direct link to it. You click on that link and bam, it's right there. Or you can just go directly to Mr. Common Sense. It's at FOPMINUI from September 19th. Perfect form, 1010, fuck around and find out. Yeah, of course, the candidate who fell on her ass. Fuck around, find out. Oh, yeah, this is the same. Yeah, in front of the ICE building. This is another version of that. And they were doing this shit all day. They should have arrested every single one of them. Oh my God, what a loser. He's using a Captain America shield. Oh my God, dude, you can't make this shit up. Oh, hell no. Yeah, he's getting arrested. He should be. Dude, that's assault on freaking federal agents. I just cannot believe that they're not arresting more people. I'm sure Trump is advocating for it. Arrest them. If they interfere in any way at all, arrest them. I mean, what are they afraid of? Are they afraid that the mainstream media is just going to paint them out to be just a bunch of evil people? They're already doing that. Mainstream media, I don't think they can get any more hyperbolic. Oh, he's about to throw another one. Come on, dude. Break it open. He just dropped it right into the crowd. That's hilarious. Watch, somebody's gonna try to pick it up and throw it. Every one of them should be arrested. These are not peaceful protesters. They're in the middle of a public roadway. That is illegal. Illegal. Look at that, man. It seems like the tear gas might actually be working.
Fucking pricks. Nazi fucking Gestapo pricks.
Brain dead. You're fucking brain dead, dude. Go get a job.
You are Nazis! You are Nazis!
Yeah, from what I've heard, the tear gas that they use in Brazil is like 10 times stronger than what our law enforcement uses here. Like, apparently they can't use stuff that's too heavy. I don't know. Maybe they should start experimenting with that. Get them really cleared out, because I'm sure that tear gas they use in Brazil, it probably just knocks out anybody who inhales it for probably like 2 hours. The left hated Charlie Kirk because they say he was transphobic and homophobic. The left loves Palestinians who are openly transphobic and homophobic. Make it make sense. I know, right? I know, right? Let's see another one. Fuck around, find out. Same place, same day. Oh no, never mind. I already saw that. One. Democrat congressional candidate attempted to physically block an ICE agent's car from conducting a lawful operation, causing her to be tossed to the ground. Well, she should have been arrested. I'm going to say that so many times because they have every bit of authority to arrest anybody who stands in the way. I don't know why they keep just like, why aren't you arresting these people? They're obviously getting orders from somebody who has instructed them not to do so. If I were the higher ups in the Trump administration, I'd be getting to the bottom of that real quick because they should have arrested like 100 people from there, if not more. Yeah, this is on FAFO. Yeah, I guess it's mostly this one. So left-wing agitators dragged on the ground and pummeled by federal agents after they tried to blockade an ICE facility in Illinois, then attacked agents. Major fuck around, find out right here. The dude got slammed. Really?
How do you spell racist? I-C-E. How do you spell fascist? I-C-E. How do you spell fascist? I-C-E. How do you spell racist? You're on
See, why drag them away? Drag them inside and throw them in federal jail. Throw them in jail. Oh! You'd think they get the message that if you throw any of those tear gas canisters, you're getting fucking hammered by them. Which he did. Students at a bus stop were going to land, leaving trash, so he installed an electric fence. No way. Virginia man installs electric fence to keep kids off the lawn. What? Wow. I don't know if I agree with that. Not if they're little kids. That's pretty fucked up, man.
This corner looked more like a crime scene than a school bus stop this morning. Parents called police after finding an electric fence just inches away from where their children wait for the bus. The man who put up the fence says he had finally had it with students trespassing and leaving trash in his yard. He figured the fence would keep them out.
I'm not in charge of other people's children. All I can do is protect myself.
But jolted neighbors thought the fence was too extreme. They called police, and police called Public Works, who questioned whether the fence encroached on a county easement.
Show me what's the truth. You know, everybody just
probably not.
Words.
The relentless homeowner not giving in because he says the signs posted in his front yard did nothing.
It says no trespassing.
Wait, you don't like kids? Me?
What, you don't like kids?
And I don't want.
I don't like them leaving trash. No, raise your kids better.
Electrocuted.
That's a little too extreme. I mean, you're gonna let the kids get electrocuted? That's not cool.
Well, guess what? It's not a damn thing they can do about it because a lot of farmers use electric fences to keep their cattle inside their enclosures. So I guess if he wanted to, he could just put a single cow out there and say, okay, it's for the cow. Don't trespass. Liberal ideology, offensive and normal. I know. I would say, like, a lot of conservatives wouldn't take kindly to even that with all the cleavage. All's I'm saying. Fuck around, find out everything happens for a reason. Sometimes the reason is you're stupid and make bad decisions. Oh, what's this one? Remember when Jimmy Kimmel cheered when Trump and his supporters were kicked off social media? Pepperidge Farm remembers. Welcome to FAFO. Enjoy your stay.
Trump has been suspended from Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and even Snapchat. But don't worry, Mr. President, there are still plenty of apps you do have access to. You still have Spotify to drown out the sound of millions of people cheering as you leave. You still have Pet Finder since you're on the outs with Mike Pence. You have Cameo, which will soon be your primary source of income. You can still play Among Us, a game where everyone accuses each other of being against them.
Obviously during COVID.
You could play Pokemon Go. You and Donnie
Remember all
Jr.
this
can
cringe,
hunt
the
Pikachus
fucking
together.
cringy shit that they
and when
did.
no one else
They would
wants
host
you, don't
like the
forget,
Late
there's
Show from their
always your
freaking
old
living
friend,
room.
the Domino's Pizza Tracker.
So stupid.
Not only did Trump get banned from Twitter, Google, Apple, and Amazon removed the Parler app from their platforms. Parler is where all the right-wingers gather
the left is winning.
to post QAnon nonsense and misspell the word parlor.
Oh, yeah, because
and
Blue
no
Sky
one
is
was
perfectly
more upset
fine.
about Parler going away than a sneaky little congressman named Devin.
But it's more than just the financial aspect of that. Republicans have no way to communicate. I have 3 million followers.
Yeah, Devin Nunes, he heads up Parler, doesn't he? Or he did?
Tonight,
I think he did.
I will no longer be able to communicate with those people.
I mean, other than being on Fox News right now. Why does Devin Nunes always look like somebody knocked his ice cream out of his hand? Trumpers are complaining bitterly that they're being silenced. In fact, they won't shut up about being silenced. On their 3 propaganda TV networks, on 1,000 conservative radio shows, all over the internet, they are screaming about being silenced. They won't be silent about being silenced.
All right, whatever. Dude's a fucking moron. All right, another one. Looks like the same one. That's probably what most of these are going to be. Not sure about that. ICE is educating the left, right? I don't think I saw these.
Hey, Lou. Hey, Lou, get right. Hey, Lou, get the shot inside of the facility. They have someone on the ground. If you're able to see that person, they're closing the gate right now. There's a person on the ground being held on the ground by those ICE agents. And look, if you pan over right now, Lou, let's see right here with the vehicle. They are plowing through these. They are plowing through the protesters right here at this.
Yeah, they're plowing through at like 6 inches a minute. They're just like they're absolutely devastatingly plowing through these like innocent, peaceful protesters.
Vehicle, they tried to deploy everything that they could as these protesters were trying to block agents from moving in and out. They have another
that's
man.
Illegal,
they
dumbass.
are just deploying anything that they can to try to get
Peaceful
the protesters out
are
of
not
the way.
allowed to
Dana,
block.
give me 1 second as I put my mask on.
The goings-on of federal
chemical agents again.
Federal agents. You can't do that.
So right now, this is what we have been seeing. This has been one of the tensest moments this morning. What just happened right now? You had vehicles that were trying to make its way out. Dana, I'm actually going to move away from the camera now that the smoke is now impacting my eyes.
You need to get away from that smoke.
No, stay right where you are.
We appreciate you reporting.
Stay where you are. That's what you get for saying they're plowing through innocent people.
I'm near the vehicle. I have a mask on. I'm okay. So basically, every time that people are pulling out,
we'll find out in 2-3 minutes.
They are blocking the vehicles from getting in and out. At this point, what we saw this time was the agents on top of the roof. They started, Lou, you need to get something on your eyes.
All the camera guys are getting it.
It's very important.
Dana, let me send it back to you. We're going to hold the shot. We just need to protect our eyes right now.
Yes.
Yes. Give us 1 second so
Because
we can
y'all are up
just
to
get
no
our
good
bearings
also,
straight.
filming all this shit.
It is.
Oh, that was funny, man. They absolutely deserve that too. Because they're not reporting on the truth. They're reporting on the innocent, peaceful bystander protesters. All right, whatever. Just an ambulance. This one, FAFO.
We're here in Malden, where a man was taken into ICE custody, and his wife, a U.S. citizen, says the encounter was violent.
That I would be thrown into the worst nightmare of my life.
Edgar Hernan Elias Escobar was on his way to work Wednesday morning when ICE agents pulled his pickup truck over. He did not roll down the window, and agents shattered the glass.
Oh,
Surveillance video shows a struggle. Then Escobar is seen on a stretcher being taken to the hospital. ICE describes him as an illegal alien from El Salvador who is now facing deportation.
Going to sue for
My
$1
husband
million.
is the best man I know. He is not a criminal. He is
if he's in here illegally.
Every living creature that he meets.
His attorneys say Escobar has a pending petition to become a permanent resident. His wife says he doesn't have a criminal record, and it's unclear why he was pulled over in the first place.
Probably came in like 20 years ago. I mean, they're arresting a lot of criminal illegal immigrants who are in the country and have been for many years, and they're just now getting caught up in it because they should have been deported a couple decades ago. That's what happens when you FAFO. Oh, okay, so this is just another. I don't think we're going to keep playing and letting you violate federal law for the cameras. No, we demand arrests. Yeah, I know. And they're not. They're not they're arresting like one here, one there. Oh, okay. Yeah, I already saw that then. They're talking about what's her name that was dropped on her ass. Oh, it looks like she might have tripped on her own. She might have tripped on her own 2 feet. This is a no-brainer. Woman gets out of the car to argue with her husband while inside a tiger safari. What? Might be a little too hot for YouTube. What do you think? I can only imagine what happens. He's probably like, are you out of your fucking mind? You idiot! Idiot woman! No, in all seriousness, I hope she's okay. For freaking crying out loud. Like, dude, the rules were crystal clear. Don't get out of your vehicle. You moron. No humans were hurt during the filming of this. Moving full steam ahead. Yeah, we saw that, right? Yeah, with that reporter. They were all getting tear gassed. The Gaza City port before and after. Really? FAFO, huh? Well, that's what happens when you elect Hamas to run your government. And then they kidnap tons of people and they murder like what, 1,200 people? Most of them are at a concert venue, I think. FAFO storm is coming.
You guys know what this represents? Well, it's the calm before the storm. What's the storm? Could be the calm before the storm.
Is this like right after his inauguration, maybe?
The world's great military people in this room, I will tell you that. And we're going to have a great evening. Thank you all for coming. Thank you.
What storm, Mr. President?
You'll find out.
You'll find out.
Give us a hint. Thank you, everybody.
That was good. All right. Gavin Newsom's press office has been referred to the Secret Service for a threat assessment. FAFO. Acting U.S. Attorney Bill Essayli. We have zero tolerance for direct or implicit threats against government officials. I've referred this matter to Secret Service and requested a full threat assessment. Kristi Noem is going to have a bad day today. You're welcome, America. Yeah, that sounds threatening. Certainly does. Again, will it hold up in a court of law? I don't know. You know, we're in a kind of uncharted territory a little bit. Your CDC and my CDC. Yeah, that dude, I've seen other pictures of him. That dude is a freaking freak, man. He's got a lot of weird shit out there on the internet. FAFO Katie doesn't worry about things like due process or smugglers are trying to bring poison into our country. It's kind of long, though. Nah, not my thing. This is my favorite new FAFO video. Sun is shining, birds chirping, and the milk is sweet. Count your blessings every day. I don't know how that's FAFO. Yeah, I saw that earlier. I don't want to do that one again. I didn't do it for this video, but she's...
On Wednesday, September 10th, when Charlie Kirk was shot.
Yeah, like her boyfriend runs some like company. I don't know if he was like a plumber or something like that. And she said a bunch of like evil shit about the Charlie Kirk assassination. And then, yeah, his business got dealt with because she couldn't keep her mouth shut.
I posted a video offering
so this is like a big like I'm sorry you feel that way kind of apology.
Every child was senselessly gunned down while at school. Within an hour and before any condition was known on Charlie, I posted a follow-up video expressing why I felt the way I did, and even ended with, I hope Charlie Kirk makes a full recovery and goes on to become a gun violence advocate. Since if you have watched any of the videos on my page, you would know.
Probably after you said a bunch of evil shit, because you're trying to walk it back.
Is not the way we are going to fix things in this country.
Of course, she's going to frame this in any way that she sees fit. She's going to completely gloss over what she actually said that was evil enough to get the attention from conservatives who probably spread it around all over the place. And now she's trying to play the victim.
Well, since I posted those two videos, my life has been completely turned upside down, and I have been thrown into what I can only explain as literal hell.
FAFO hell?
First, my address was leaked, and then all of my family's personal information followed. My
Hey,
boyfriend's
man, that's the
company.
tactics of the
Again,
left.
I said he's my boyfriend. He is not my husband.
We're
That
starting
has
to enter
absolutely
fight fire with
nothing
fire
to do
territory,
with
it would
TikTok,
seem.
with my TikTok account or social media or politics in general has been defamed and slandered. Calls and negative reviews started pouring in by the thousands.
Now, if so, let's reverse the roles. If the man was saying all this evil shit about the assassination, and if she owned her own business, and then his words were getting her business targeted, do you think she'd leave her boyfriend? There's no two ways about it. She absolutely would in a heartbeat. But I bet this guy, I bet he's still with her though. I bet she ain't leaving. I bet he's not leaving her.
Someone showed up.
But maybe he
to his
did. I don't know.
company,
What do I know?
Entered his private office and verbally assaulted him.
Verbal assault. Verbally assault. How do you like that? Verbal assault. Now, what law is that under? What statute? Verbal assault.
And my family's lives have been threatened thousands of times. I have received text messages and emails saying I should be raped and murdered, and that people are coming to my house, say my address, and then say they are coming to spray it with bullets.
Well, I don't agree with any of that. I don't advocate for any of that at all. I think whoever said that is an evil individual as well. Doesn't matter what side that they're on. Anyway, but with all that said, this is why you don't say really evil shit on the internet that affects a lot of people, especially at the worst possible time. You could have said something like that. But of course, she's not going to tell us what she said initially that got all this heat on her.
MAGA protesters have shown up to my house, driven through my private neighborhood, sent me hate mail, left notes on my boyfriend's office.
Look, the hate mail, I could probably believe that. As far as people showing up to your house, where's the video? I believe it when I see it.
And my own neighbor has offered to share my whereabouts with the internet. Yes, you heard that correct.
Uh-oh.
My neighbor has offered to share
My neighbor is a
my
MAGA.
whereabouts with the internet. We have been traumatized and stripped
Well, what's the point? Your address has already been leaked. So what good would that do?
of our privacy. All because I said Charlie Kirk, who did not believe in empathy himself, did not have mine. I think the most ironic thing is that my life and my family's lives have been torn apart over my words.
Well, she's saying a lot, but she's not showing anything.
People who support Charlie Kirk and are always yelling the loudest about their First Amendment right and freedoms of speech.
No, that would be the left who's always the loudest about that.
Words have consequences. There is nothing that I did or said that even deserved a percentage of what happened to me and my family. And I know I am not the only one whose life has been destroyed over this. Hundreds, if not thousands, of other content creators on this very app have been fired from their jobs and doxxed.
Yes, they have.
And I must say, that really...
Because when you say that somebody deserves to die, when you say stuff like you're next and this person's next, yeah, that tends to happen. Because the workplace, most companies, they have a code of ethics, code of conduct. You have to conduct yourself professionally, and that can bleed into your personal life. If you say a bunch of crazy shit on social media and your workplace finds out about it, they have every right to fire you. Most places don't even have to give you a reason, or at least in most states. I don't think there's very many right-to-work states.
Really terrifies me because it makes it clear that these people only want us to have the First Amendment right and freedom of speech when it fits their narrative. That is not the country
that's on the left.
I was born in, and that is certainly not the country I want to raise my child in. So today I come to you with a few calls to action. First, if you or anybody you know has been doxxed, harassed, threatened, or fired, please reach out to me
so we
via
can complain
email
together.
At I've been doxxed @gmail.com. Secondly,
And what are you
please
gonna do with
consider
that?
attending your local No Kings Part 2 protest on October 18th. And third, if you are a California resident, please get out and vote yes in person
Of
on
course she's
November
in California.
4th on Prop 50, the Election Rigging Response Act. I'll end with this. Right now,
Election
the most
Rigging
important
Response Act.
thing we can do is support each other. Fascism hates community, so right now we must.
Yeah, you must have said some pretty evil shit, lady, for you to get all that heat on you. And who was that? Tara Bull. So Tara Bull put that on. Yeah, some elements of that has gone too far. Yeah, like the death threats and all that. I also don't agree at all with doxing. I think that's not cool at all. But it's not so hard to find out where people work, though. I mean, The left, they set that precedent years ago. It even goes back to the COVID era, too. So, anyway. FAFO, another one. Same thing. All right. Well, I think I'm done with the FAFO stuff. I don't know if there's really much else going on right now. President Trump returns to the White House after a Saturday trip to Trump National Golf Club. He will attend Charlie Kirk's memorial in Arizona on Sunday. Yep, that's happening tomorrow. They're putting up the fencing. I don't know if I'll actually end up finding that or not, but they're putting up temporary steel fencing all around the entire property because they're anticipating a lot of protesters to show up. Oh, yeah, impersonating a law enforcement officer. Yeah, I did see that earlier. All right. Trending. It's usually like sports stuff. Not into sports. Don't care about sports. It's all sports. I just introduced the No Sharia Act, which would ensure that no U.S. court, public agency, or legal institution can ever enforce or legitimize Sharia law. You don't get to come to this country and demand that our legal system accommodate your oppressive laws. Proud to work with Rep. Keith Self on this important legislation. And ironically, the left would be all about it. No, they should be allowed to do whatever they want. They should be allowed to legitimize Sharia law. Can't make that up. Shit is getting real. Trump publicly tells Pam Bondi justice must be served now. Really? Wait, when was this posted? 3 hours ago? Pam, I have reviewed over 30 statements and posts saying that essentially same old story as last time. All talk, no action. Nothing is being done. What about Comey, Adam Shifty Schiff, Letitia? They're all guilty as hell, but nothing is going to be done. Then we almost put in a Democrat-supported U.S. attorney in Virginia with a really bad Republican past. A woke rhino who was never going to do his job. That's why 2 of the worst Dem senators pushed him so hard. He even lied to the media and said he quit and that we had no case. No, I fired him, and there's a great case in many layers, and legal pundits say so. Lindsay is a really good lawyer and likes you a lot. We can't delay any longer. It's killing our reputation and credibility. They impeached me twice and indicted me 5 times over nothing. Justice must be served now. Wow. Sounds like she might be getting replaced. Sounds like your days are numbered, Pamela Bondi, which is very disappointing for me because, you know, I'm in Florida. I'm from Florida, so she was our attorney general here in Florida, so I kind of had high hopes for her. But yeah, it doesn't really seem like much is getting done now, is it? Look, that's why I was really bummed out when Matt Gaetz, who was tapped for attorney general first, and then for whatever reason, he ended up not taking the job. That was really disappointing because I bet Matt Gaetz would have gone after all of these people. Corey Mills has some very serious questions to answer. He was married in a mosque connected to terrorism by an imam who was linked to the World Trade Center bombings and even raised money for Hamas. His wife is Muslim, and the only way to be married in a mosque is if both are Muslims. On top of that, Mills owns an international arms dealing company, yet he's sitting as a chairman on the Foreign Affairs Committee. What? Is this why he's defending Ilhan Omar instead of putting America first? Yeah, it would seem that way, wouldn't it? And he's one of the Republicans, one of the 4 Republicans, I think, right? Yeah, Corey Mills, yeah, I believe he is. I think he was one of the 4 who voted against censuring and removing Ilhan Omar from her committee assignments. He was one of the 4 Republicans who did that. Traitor. How much attention did that get? 932? Definitely needs to be more than that. Actually, I'm going to repost that too. Now, I mean, I can't say 100%. Look, well, he's got the document here. Marriage register. Yeah, it doesn't... wait, here. No, other... I don't know. I can only go off of what he's saying. I mean, I'm not saying that I blindly believe everything that he's saying there. Just saying it just... deserves to be looked at more closely. To anyone with big pockets in New Jersey, I humbly ask you to invest in the Jack Ciattarelli governor race. This election is winnable and is not receiving the attention or funds necessary for victory. Don't lose this election by 10,000 votes because Republicans wouldn't invest. Yeah, he's got a hell of a ground game. Yeah, he picked freedom. That's cool. They say that Charlie Kirk hated gay people. Yeah, I'm sure. But he didn't. I meant that as in yeah, I'm sure they are saying that. They are. But he's been very clear. He doesn't hate gay people. He doesn't hate anybody. He's a practicing Christian, for crying out loud. Charlie Kirk had incredible parents. It's because of his parents that he was able to not need college. He had enough of an education at home. Families are truly what build nations, foundations, and legacy. We must not allow the left to destroy the family unit. Take a look at this.
Kirk, he had incredible parents. It's because of the parents that he was who he was as well. It's because he was able, because of who his parents were, that he was able to not need college. He had enough of an education at home. He was able to go in an elevator and sell himself to a very wealthy man and get the investment to start Turning Point in one elevator.
Wow.
So families are truly what they were. They're what build nations. They build foundations. They build legacy.
But yeah, dude, family's everything, man. More important than money, more important than career, more important than fame and fortune is family. Life is about people. It's not about money. The Canadian government has turned on its citizens, really. Yeah, it's kind of long, though.
So the Canadian government has now decided that it's going to actually bring in laws for a two-tier justice system. If you're wondering what that is, just look at the UK. Basically, that means that if you're not Canadian and if you're an illegal or an immigrant of a different country, you're allowed to commit whatever crimes you want and you're going to get away with it because apparently you don't know our customs or our ways or our laws. And so by letting you get away with these crimes, you're eventually going to learn and kind of, you know, just blend in with society. Yeah, let me just show you this. Canada introduces legislation to combat hate crimes, intimidation, and obstruction. There is a horrifying rise in hate crimes in our communities, and Canada will not tolerate anyone being made to feel afraid because of who they are, unless you're like a Christian and have traditional values and don't want to be vaccinated.
Yeah,
anyway, how they worship. Unless you're a Christian, then you're going to get persecuted like the Christian singer that has been, you know, traveling through Canada. Or where they gather. Again, unless you're Christian.
Wait a minute. In Canada, they have communities of transgenders, transphobia in their own communities. So they've got like what, entire neighborhoods of transgenders?
Anti-Semitism caused by our Canadian government because they literally hate everybody except for those who want to destroy our country. Islamophobia doesn't actually exist in Canada because you're allowed to do whatever, including burning the flag and shouting death to Canada.
Yeah, there you go.
Homophobia and transphobia have left too many people feeling unsafe in their own communities. Let's see about that.
Not so much.
It is accurate that Canadian judges have, in some cases, issued conditional discharges to non-citizen offenders to avoid hindering their immigration and citizenship application. In late 2023, Ashka Kumar, that dude, a permanent resident from India, was arrested after attempting to solicit sexual services from what he believed to be a 15-year-old girl, and the girl was an undercover police officer. What did the judge do?
Whoa.
Yeah, she just pretty much discharged him because she didn't want him having a criminal record. Oh,
yeah,
a trans-identifying Canadian...
You know, this Canadian government, they don't want their numbers to look bad. They don't want the statistics to look bad, so they'll just let them go, and they won't have to add it to the
man
statistics.
Charged with stabbing his own 2 children. He actually slit their throat. By the way, he's out, and he was out 2 days after. The only reason why this sex offender who raped a 3-year-old girl in Welland, Ontario, hasn't been transferred to a woman's jail is because there was a protest outside, but now those protesters are being hunted down by the cops. Liberalism. Where you're so open-minded, your brain falls out. And if you actually see the truth for what is happening, you call people racist, right? Let's look at Sweden, how liberalism has turned out for them. Oh, shit, look at that. Baghdad safer than Sweden. Go figure.
Yep.
This is exactly what's happening in the UK, where the minority come in, take your government, and then use that government against you to bring in their own. Like London's mayor, Sad Dick. I don't know what the hell his name is. Let me show you. So sad little Dick Khan sparks a row with Islam-focused policies for London. Is it racist to point out the truth? Is it? Because that's literally what's happening. Meanwhile, Christians aren't allowed to worship without a permit. Meanwhile, you're getting called an extremist for having traditional views.
Yeah, and you know, at some point, people in Europe are going to they're going to vote against it. They're going to vote out anybody who's been pushing for it, but by then it's going to be far too late. I think a lot of people would argue that it's too late already. That Europe is being fast-tracked into being turned into a series of Islamic republics. That's where they're heading. And it's not going to be too far down the road. As I heard recently, someone said in as little as 40 years, just based on the birth rate, that France will have enough citizens to declare itself an Islamic republic. That it'll be majority Muslim within 40 years, based on the number of children that Muslims are having in France compared to long-standing French citizens. They're only having children at like a 1.3 replacement rate per couple. But the Muslims in France, it's over 8. It's like 8.3 on average. And yeah, man, they've been saying that even in the UK. That's what a lot of Muslims will say in the UK. They're like, you know, we don't have to fight for your country. We're just going to breed you out of existence. And that's what they're doing. Amy Klobuchar, this you celebrating Trump's social media ban? Yeah, another one, huh?
Good timing for us to have you on talking about your antitrust book, because so much happened even today. For example, Facebook decided to uphold their ban on former President Trump, to extend it at least another 6 months. What is your reaction to that news?
That was the right thing to do. He's the disinformer-in-chief. He told the biggest lie of all time.
You cut it off a little too early. I don't understand why people buy books written by freaking politicians. I never understood that. Now, from a president, okay, I would get that. Because the president, they have the ability to declassify whatever they want. I don't know if that actually is the case after they're president. I'm sure they can still read and get their hands on whatever they want. Let's see. They were expecting a turnout of around 600 and ended up at 2,000 patriots celebrating the life of a great husband, father, leader, and friend. Mountain Home has a population of just under 14,000 people. And almost 15% of them came to the event. Field rep and a guy that lived in Mountain Home for 2 years. I'm truly humbled by and grateful for these folks. Thank you to the organizers and everyone who attended. I absolutely would have been there if that happened here. I haven't heard anything. I guess I could look that up. Hold on. Where did it go? No, I'll just do the maps. Okay. Is it gonna pop up? Usually that pops up. All right. I know I'm not. Keeps doing that because I'm not signing into Google. Tampa Bay area for Charlie Kirk. That was last week. No, I would be surprised if Google would give me anything that I'm looking for anyway. Veterans Park. Oh, that's way out in St. Augustine. Woman disrupts Charlie Kirk vigil. Yeah, no, nothing. I could try Clearwater. Kirk mourners march along Clearwater. No, that's in Australia. Vigil held in the Tampa Bay area. It looks like that's going to be it. I don't know. I didn't hear anything that was going on locally. All right. Yep. Didn't look like anything's going on. But that's really cool, man. That's a lot of people. 2,000 people. Artist paints massive mural in honor of Charlie Kirk on the side of a barn off the state route. Route 73 in Waynesville, Ohio. It's painted by Erica Arnst. And the video was shot by Reflections by Rob. That's a long video. Freedom. Oh yeah, you know what? It's probably going to be copyrighted music. But that's really cool, though. And he got that painted quick, too, man. Or she did. My apologies. She got that painted really quick. Very cool. Some drone footage. Great opening speech for the CSSA 1926 Colorado State Shooting Association banquet. Let's claw back our 2A rights in Colorado. Good to see, and please follow. That's pretty cool. Yeah, man, we're getting our 2A rights back here in Florida. Open carry starts next Thursday. You can carry a gun concealed or open carry, and you don't have to have the government's permission, as the Constitution intended. Oh, here's some of his repulsive tweets about Charlie Kirk, another radical. If anyone knows this guy, we're trying to pin down which federal agency he works for. Oh, they'll find out. So far, they're up to 500. They've awoken a sleeping giant. I'm Charlie, you are Charlie, we are Charlie. His legacy will inspire voters for generations and not for the left.
Hi, my name is Charlie Brown. I'm 13 years old, and I am a part of the founder of a mission called Where's Charlie?
Oh, no.
This mission was created after the assassination of Charlie Kirk.
Why did your parents do that to you?
What nation do we live in where people are killed for exercising their right to free speech? My mission is best described in this quote. You can kill the messenger, but not the message. I am trying to bring together hundreds, thousands, and eventually millions of people to be a Charlie. To get truth and decipher that truth through critical thinking.
Okay, so his name's not actually Charlie.
Charlie may be gone, but now I am Charlie. You are Charlie. We are Charlie.
Okay, I got it. I got
American comeback.
All right. There for a minute, and I was a little anxious for that kid. Like, oh no, man, why would they do that? Hey, it's not unheard of. I bet there's a lot of people out there named Charlie Brown. Make it an annual fee charge. I mean, and how dare Charles Schultz use such a generic name to, well, I guess at the time he probably didn't know how iconic his comic strip was going to actually become. Charge H-1B holders outside the country $100,000 to re-enter. Apply this for renewals and current visa holders. Time for the Trump administration to choose the India lobby or American workers. This is not an annual fee. It's a one-time fee that applies only to the petition. Those who already hold H-1B visas and are currently outside of the country right now will not be charged $100,000 to re-enter. H-1B visa holders can leave and re-enter the country to the same extent as they normally would. Whatever ability they have to do that is not impacted by yesterday's proclamation. This applies only to new visas, not renewals, and not current visa holders. It will first apply in the next upcoming lottery cycle. There you have it. Well, that's the way it should be. Americans should be getting the jobs. And if it's worth that much to you, there you go. We gather tomorrow to honor Charlie Kirk. He planted truth in a culture consumed by lies. Charlie didn't just leave us a legacy to admire. He left us a blueprint, marching orders, and a battle plan. This moment in history demands resolve, not retreat. This is Charlie's America, a land worth fighting for, worth praying for, and worth standing for. Now it's ours to protect. Let's not only remember Charlie, let's become the very people he believed and prayed we could be. And of course, since he used like the words battle plan, of course the left is gonna use that like, oh my God, it's hate speech.
The funeral will reportedly have the same level of security as the Super Bowl or the Boston Marathon.
Might even be
and
more
rightfully so. Charlie.
No, they're probably gonna have more security than they would have at the Super Bowl because even Trump is showing up. So I mean, the Secret Service is going to be all over the place too.
Not just coming to say goodbye. No, they're coming to carry the torch forward. Because when a man like Charlie Kirk falls in battle, when a voice that bold is no longer with us, it doesn't mean the mission ends. It means the rest of us have to rise up and take on the burden that he carried. And we will carry it, Charlie. You see, Charlie wasn't in this for the applause. He was in it for an awakening. And that awakening doesn't die with the man. It multiplies in the hearts of those who heard him, those that followed him, and those that stood beside him. His life wasn't just about influence. It was about impact. And impact doesn't end at the gravesite. It echoes through every life he touched, every mind he shaped, every heart that he stirred towards truth and conviction. And now it falls to us. To the parents he challenged to protect their kids, To the pastors he stirred to preach with boldness. To the students that he dared to think critically. To the leaders he pressed to stand firm. When a man like Charlie is taken from us, a man with a spine of steel, that fire, that clarity becomes the responsibility of the rest of us to stand taller, to live louder, to love harder, to lead better. Because if we don't, then the loss becomes just a loss. But if we do, if we carry this torch, then that loss becomes that awakening. Today we begin that journey. Today we choose not to just grieve what was taken, but to honor what was given. We remember not just what was lost, but what was planted. And what Charlie Kirk planted in our hearts and minds is deep. He planted conviction, courage. He planted truth in a culture filled with lies. And now it's time for those seeds to grow. Because Charlie didn't just leave behind a legacy to admire. He left behind marching orders, a blueprint, and a battle plan. And a bold reminder that this moment in history requires men and women of resolve, not retreat. This is Charlie's America, a land worth fighting for, worth praying for, and worth standing for. And now, it's ours to protect. Let's not just remember Charlie. Let's become what he prayed and believed we could become.
Man, very well said.
The funeral.
Yeah, if I knew how deep that was going to be, I would have cut the background music. Yeah, I actually can't hear it in my headphones, so I forget that it's actually playing sometimes. But yeah, that's probably a good one to end on. His memorial or his services tomorrow. Secret Service is going to be there, and hopefully everything goes all right. I'm assuming they're probably. I mean, they've got it all fenced. The whole property is basically completely fenced off. So, I mean, I'm assuming that there's going to be a lot of protesters showing up. Of course, we'd expect nothing less from the left. But yeah, I mean, fortunately, we've got hundreds, maybe probably well over 1,000 hours worth of Charlie Kirk's voice, his image on just videos all over the place. And, you know, he left a lot for us to, you know, just watch, remember, study, and, you know, take to heart. So that's a very good thing that he left behind for us to, you know, consume and, you know, carry on the legacy that is Charlie Kirk. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll probably be back with another video tomorrow. I might just grab a couple of clips from this. Just pretty much just hanging out tonight. Not really up to a whole lot, but I'll be back with something tomorrow. I'll see what happens. But anyway, thanks for watching. See you later.